Gentlemen, suck my dick.
It's the SHOGUNCAST, the most dangerous cultural podcast on the internet. With your host, the Bane of the Woke, the Harbinger Heritage, the Mad Shogun, Aaron Alexander. Featuring the man who doesn't need to stay frosty because he's always frosty, Snowman. And the id of the Shogunate and frequent visitor to the principal's office, the Mad Dog Matt Wheaton. Plus a random cast around the internet that could drop in from time to time. And now, from Central Florida, overlooking the shores of the Gulf of America, around the internet and into your devices, let's get ready to rumble! Good evening, dear viewer. It is I, the Bane of the Woke, the Harbinger Heritage, the Mad Shogun, Aaron Alexander, and this is the SHOGUNCAST. And ooh, yeah, we got a little. It's a special sort of SHOGUNCAST tonight. We got the monk in here to talk about his game. But first, it seems we got a problem. ChibiReviews has had a bit of a quandary of sorts, and of course, the usual scumbags have decided to jump aboard, trying to push him over the edge, so they have another corpse to dance over. I mean, what? Is Charlie Kirk not good enough for you? Fucking demons. But anyway, let's chase those demons with a saxophone. So, hit it. Alright, so as a reminder, everybody, if you haven't already, if you like this podcast, give us a like, give us a subscribe if possible, and spread the word about this shit, because we're doing a lot of shit. We're covering everything, even the best and the worst of things. So, without further ado, good evening, gentlemen. Yes, and we have a full...
Let's be honest with you, Aaron. They're never going to stop. It's never going to be enough for them. They're demons. What do you expect?
So anyway, we have a full house today. Of course, we have the Mad Dog here. We got Snow here. We got Mr. 34302 Otaku Shadow. The Ethereal Dragon has come by and visited as well, and it seems he's early and super straight. The gaming monk himself, Mildra. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It seems I chose the right day to take some time off because Old Man Winter is hanging out with Hunter S. Thompson again.
Oh dear God.
Really? Yeah, I can hear the wind whistling over where I am.
Yeah,
we finally got a break for the snow here in New York.
Well, I do not miss Chicago weather, I'll tell you that much.
I don't blame you.
Oh. So, I'm just looking at all the snow and I'm going... I'm just looking at all the snow and I'm going, hey, free ammo.
You would.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Snow. Yeah,
Snow. To remind you guys that I used some lunch trays to build a circle of snow around my roommate's bed a long time ago.
Oh my God.
What does he do to piss you off?
That's all I said now.
All right.
What did he do to piss me off? He left a Hershey bar on my desk.
Oh.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Yeah. How you doing, Snow? Snow? Is he getting...
I think Snow got a little MIA because he said he had to go get dinner.
Yeah, okay, that's what happens. He had to go get dinner. So yeah. Well, so let's not waste time here, folks, because we have an absolute king of the week, but unfortunately we have the entire fucking circus. Well but how about this? Let's talk about our absolute king this week here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Long may he reign.
Don't forget to share the screen there, Aaron.
Yes, I haven't forgotten. Here we are. So our absolute king this week is. Hold on, let me get my thing. Let me get my guy. Let me get my link up here. I got two of them tonight. I think you already know who this guy is. This is ChibiReviews. He's been an absolute thorn on the side of wokies of all stripes, VTubers. There's fake ass LA influencers and Hassan Piker.
Yeah, and guess what?
Started on Hassan Piker.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that Peter was right about actually all these demons that's actually, being freaking posters and phonies in the anime fandom.
Oh yeah.
I will say this: if you're versed in British slang, the fact that he chose the last name Piker is too fucking funny to me. Or if you've seen the movie Snatch.
Pikey. Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Problem though is, unlike him, the Pikey won.
Ooh.
Well, he cosplays as a revolutionary. Of course, he'd cosplay as a guy who couldn't take a punch.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And yes, I did see the his little revolutionary outfit, which is not California compliant and is blatantly an airsoft. Like I know.
Yeah. Like I said,
you've been around it enough. You know an airsoft when you see it.
Well, anyway, I'll get more about Hassan when we get around to it. But apparently, in his personal life, and usually we don't touch on a lot of people's personal life on here unless it's extremely pertinent, and unfortunately, this happens to be the case because ChibiReviews pretty much put his heart out there, considering the fact that, well, I'll let him explain. Hold on, let me make sure my sounds are correct when I start playing this.
I'm making this video.
Yes, here we go.
As more of a statement to myself. This video is for me. To put all my thoughts together and.
Damn, right away you could feel the pain in his face right now, or when he shot that video. It is nasty.
Yeah, it is nasty. I mean, seriously, what even wish that on my worst enemy?
Oh hell no! But anyway, let's continue.
Yeah.
Just work things out in my own way, because one of the ways I've always gotten through trauma and hardships in my life, especially in these last years, is to just focus on work, to make videos. It's the only joy that I really have. So, you all saw the post. You all have seen. You've seen what I've said in the last 24, how many hours? I don't know. It's just, I'm just gonna give you a full rundown of just everything that happened. Maybe I'm oversharing. This will be used against me to mock me or whatever.
In this case, I don't blame him, because, like I said, if you're in a situation where you got very few, where basically what happened to you happened to him, and you got a decent amount of an online following, you'd want to vent. And you know what? And like I said, in these cases, I can understand why he wants to do this, because, like I said, he feels he needs to vent, and like I said, if you don't vent some of your feelings, let's just say bad things tend to happen.
Yes.
This is what
343 E. You okay? Because you're cutting in and out.
Hey, Mr. A, I think your mic's on the fritz.
Yeah, well, I just feel like this. Freaking hitting me phone and I'm waiting for the tax refund.
Oh God, you are roboting there, sir.
Yeah.
I can understand.
Yeah, but anyway. While you figure that out 343, let's continue.
Well, like I said, I'm saying all this just to clear my head. Just because if I say it, it's done. It's over. Like, I'm able to just process everything at least a little bit better. So, on the 11th of February, I discover
I want you to pay attention to that date. February 11th. 3 days before Valentine's Day. This is gonna hurt.
I discover my fiance cheating on me with my best friend of 10 years. I confronted her about this, and she apologized, and I, being with her already for multiple years, and then finding out my best friend, so much betrayal. So what I decided to do is just, I grabbed my keys, I went driving. I went to the liquor store. I bought alcohol that was the same alcohol, the last alcohol that I drank with my brother. And then I drove into the middle of nowhere, near water, and I drank, and drank, just sitting there drinking. And I was inches from death. And then suddenly, a police officer shows up. Don't know how I was found, but he shows up. And he saved me at the last moment. He did. And I come to find out, after all this, it was Nicholas Light, that was the one that apparently called a wellness check on me. And he saved my life. He saved my life. Anyways, the officer escorted me to the hospital, because obviously with everything, making sure mental evaluation and all that. And I obviously couldn't drive, too much alcohol. So he took me to the hospital, and I stayed basically the night. And I wasn't able to access my phone or use anything until they discharged me. I got discharged earlier this morning. And I was so hurt. I was so hurt.
Okay. First off, let's talk about the situation that drove him to this. Your best boy, for 10 fucking years, just up and fucked your fiance. That's a serious bro
It's
code
not-
violation. That is a serious bro code violation. Okay?
Damn right. No best friend should ever do that. Ever.
You didn't get stabbed in the back by that fucking harlot. You also got stabbed in the back by your guy that claimed you're his ace. You're his number 2. That's fucking disloyal.
Worse than that. It's worse than that, actually.
It is. And the reason it really it does hurt me pretty big because I know most of you guys of the Shogun have heard the story. I don't know if you've heard the story yet, Mildra, but you remember last fall when I went up to Chicago. My plans was to get my old one of my biggest plans of going up there was to get my old car back. To get it back after being inactive for like 4 years. Damn transmission blues. So the plan was I sent my best friend, one of my good friends at the time, at least I thought she was, some money because I know she held it down for me in the past quite a few times. And also she had possession of my car. So the plan was I sent her money. She used her connects to get it fixed, and then I come up there. I claim back my car. We go out to eat, catch up on a few things. In the past 2 weeks, I go back down to Florida, with my car in tow. Well, not in tow, but I'd be driving it back. But in short, she gave me the runaround. Fucking Bunny went to God knows where, and the car I don't even know where the damn car is. For all we know, it could be in some empty barn somewhere in bumfuck Illinois, or into the goddamn river, or what have you. But either way, she fucked me over. 25.
I wanted to say something there, Aaron.
Go ahead.
There's actually, hold on, Aaron. I wanted to say there's a certain special place in hell for people like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, the special hell.
Oh
for
yes.
predators and those who talk at movies.
But here's the deal with me. I mean, I didn't get pissed drunk though. I mean, in my situation, half of me was actually relieved because now I don't have to deal with anything up in Chicago anymore.
Yeah, you've been having problems with that car for how long?
Well, ever since the transmission blew back in 2021, and it was last year. So the plan was because at the time when it blew, I didn't have the money, but at the time where I got I had more than enough. I had more than enough to take care of the situation. But like I said, I should have left it in more capable hands. But that's on me. But in this case, though, this is another best friend that fucking not only backstabbed, he got backstabbed twice, and then which forced him to pretty much try to drink himself to death. Okay, but as you see further, it gets even worse. So anyway, I just want to let you know why this one hits me pretty hard, because betrayal, that's a cardinal sin with me. So anyway,
Exactly, Aaron. I mean, there is a reason why treachery is at the very bottom pit of hell. I mean, they don't call Lucifer the Lord of Lies for nothing, you know.
Exactly. But anyway,
But I'm going to give full context. So, I'm getting messaged somehow. Nicholas Light has my number. He saved me. It's fine. And then Tectone, apparently, he gives me a call as well. And
oh, by the way, Tectone, on a future stream, we'll talk about the situation with him, because he got hit with some bullshit too. So, oh, who dropped out?
Not me.
Oh, never mind.
Oh.
Probably. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear
I
you,
can hear
Snow.
you.
All right.
Okay, so I haven't dropped out. It's just my
Yeah.
funky.
All right. Anyway, let's keep going.
They're worried about me. And so many others reached out that I didn't. I thank you. I do. Just oh. Anyways. I get picked up and I'm going home. Like, I'm free to go, everything's fine. And I knew I had to tackle the elephant in the room. I had to go home and more or less I confronted her about everything, trying to talk, and she left. I'm not a perfect person. I make mistakes. I know. I piss people off. I annoy them. But anyways, after she left, I did what anyone probably would reasonably do. I wanted to confide in someone. Not really. I go to my gaming friend group that I've known just as long as my best friend that my fiance cheated with. I talk with them, and they straight up, they admit to me they don't care, basically, what my used to be best friend did. They prefer gaming with him, and I thought these guys were my friends. I did. And they more or less, they just cared about gaming with him, and they didn't care about everything. They're completely okay with everything. And so, more or less, I lost my whole friend group. My best friend that I basically called a brother.
With friends like these, people, with friends like these,
You
unbelievable.
literally stole the words out of my mouth.
Who the fuck needs enemies at this point?
Yeah, really. I mean, I do have some suspicions about this so-called friend group that abandoned him. I say so-called not because I don't doubt I doubt his story. I don't. But what if these guys were aware of his online persona? You know what I mean? That's a
boy.
Now it is. I'm not gonna. I don't want to confirm anything or anything like that. This is just something I'm thinking off the top of my head because there are some times where some people you don't want to bump into your online persona, and then all of a sudden they find out that you probably are against the pronouns and all the degeneracy, and then all of a sudden they're calling you a Nazi and what have you. It's ridiculous. I mean, that's...
Well,
This is why I actually personally hate fake friends, because they're by far the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it, bro.
All right. Anyway.
I will, however, say this. There is a silver lining to this.
Oh, yeah. So, anyway.
There is a silver lining, if you care for me to speak my mind.
All right.
So, do I have permission?
Go for it.
I don't think anyone could hurt him now.
Mm-hmm.
The worst that could possibly happen, I think, that has already hit him, has sailed. He's basically untouchable now.
Yeah.
What the fuck can the woke actually do now?
Yeah. And
fuck
now
all nothing.
I agree. Now I'm not going to play I'm not going to play the rest of this because he goes into.
I mean, it sucks they had to go to this length. It does suck. I mean, it's absolutely fucking horrible. I hope the people who did this to him, they rot in hell. But
oh yeah, definitely.
No one can hurt him anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to.
What the hell? What the hell can one do against one who has jack and shit to lose?
Yeah. The most dangerous person you want to fuck with is someone who doesn't have anything to lose. And this is why I always say, all this cancel culture bullshit will eventually bite them in the ass, because what if you bump into somebody and they don't, and what if you cancel somebody, they ruin their completely, and you were counting on them sunsetting themselves, but they don't, but you fill them with results saying, I gotta get back at these bitches. And they go even go more freaking werewolf on you. That's what some of these idiots don't fail to realize, you know. But anyway, go ahead.
The dumbest thing you do, I mean, the dumbest thing that you do by earning enemies, by this betrayal and all this, is you don't know if they're going to come back as the Storm.
Yes.
Like, we're not even talking about werewolf anymore. We're talking about something even worse. We're talking about the Storm.
Oh yeah.
Remember
that scene from
Hold on, one at a time.
Guys, if I can interject here, I would like to actually say this is the scene from Joker where he's actually saying that we actually have to sit there and take it like good little boys, and that we won't werewolf and go wild.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, folks, spite is a very powerful motivator. It's basically what allowed me to get through high school, because of spite for the very people that bullied me into damn near submission.
Yep. Well, so anyway, I'm not going to play any. I'm not going to go further with this because I think we already have the major ideas down. But the good news is Chibi is okay. All right, he's still kicking. He just posted another video just a couple days ago. But I think going forward, I think this guy's going to have absolutely nothing to lose. He's going after these assholes with freaking full bore. And if it turns out that his so-called friend group bolted on him because they support all that woke crap, he's going to be on a mission.
Bronson, bitches! Bronson!
Yep.
Well, even if they don't support that shit, you don't want to be friends with them. I mean,
oh no.
What the fuck are they thinking? They chose the guy literally cheated on his best friend. You don't think the motherfucker's gonna do horrible shit behind your back too, you dumb fucks?
Yeah. Mildred, you want to say something, man?
So, as you guys are likely well aware, I'm a very strong believer in karma.
Oh yeah.
And karma is a universal force.
Hold up.
I agree with you, dude.
Hey, let Mildred talk. All right, go ahead.
I firmly believe that even whether or not they are ideologically compromised or not, that attitude of we just want a game, we don't want all this stuff. Too bad, because it is, first off, it is going to come knocking, because karma is a wheel. It always comes back around. And to illustrate this kind of thing, I'd like to share with you all the story of where that did happen. And when it did, I was sitting in the stands of the courtroom, simply with an attitude of, I came here to laugh at you.
The old Char maneuver, huh?
Oh, please do.
So, I have mentioned in the past a woman named Charlita who was less than kind to me. whether or not she didn't know how to handle someone with my particular abilities, or whether or not she was just crazy, is a story for another day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
But-
yeah, we all been into that relationship with crazy woman.
She is the reason why I made the joke of I am only prejudiced towards black women from the South Side of Chicago.
Oh my!
And shortly after I had burned that bridge, a little birdie told me that she and her son were going to be put up in the bin for check fraud.
Ooh.
Dear Lord.
Let me guess. You got called as
Not
a
only
witness,
that,
right?
But I didn't get called in as a witness. I was just there to attend the whole thing.
Oh, you decided to attend the trial.
Yeah. In the process, while doing investigating, because again, I seem to have become a journalist over the last 11 years without actually studying journalism. I found out that she had gone to the other side for a bit, but there were no takers because everybody knew crazy when they saw it, so she tried to switch back. And that hadn't worked either.
Oh.
So the whole time picture me sitting in the front row of the attendance part of the trial with the biggest shit-eating grin while they have to take the stand.
And of course, they would see you if I'll tell you all.
And I made sure that they could see me. And I also and because of where I was sitting, they couldn't do a damn thing about it.
Oh, dear Lord.
I think
And
this actually.
When
Okay,
when they finally got locked up, I made sure I was their first visitor, just to rub salt in the wound.
Oh, the old ceremonial mindfuck.
If I might actually say, I think this actually calls for a little bit of the bubbly.
Oh, indeed. You know what? Hold on.
Yeah.
That is a cheers, definitely. Where are you?
Mildred, my friend, you just did the whole Char from Zeta meme.
Yep, here it is.
If I want to be pedantic, quattro vagina, but I digress.
Oh,
A little bit of the bubbly.
dude.
But if I look, I've mentioned before that my favorite Shakespeare play is Titus Andronicus. So never underestimate how far I will go to be petty back at someone.
Yeah,
I'm not
Don't
familiar
know
with
why
that one.
I bring up Titus. Titus Andronicus is the reason I swore off pot pies for about 3 weeks.
Oh.
Oh,
It's also the
God.
reason why anytime someone tells me how romantic they find Shakespeare plays, I immediately want to keep at least 15 feet of distance from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Especially if they say that about Romeo and Juliet, because I'm like, you find a double suicide romantic.
Yeah, really.
You and I are not talking
Yeah.
for the next 24 hours.
Yeah, last I checked, Shakespearean plays are more tragic than anything.
Tragic or morbid, whichever.
A lot of plays in that era were either tragic or bittersweet or just what the fuck. Looking right at you, Germany, and Wagner in particular, and
Dude,
in particular,
it's in their
the
children's
Wolf's
book,
Glen
too.
scene
Yeah.
in. Look, there's the Disney-fied version of a lot of fairy tales, and then there's the actual version of those fairy tales.
Yeah, read
Especially
Little Mermaid.
the ones
true.
in Eastern Europe.
Read the actual old story of Little Mermaid. It's not a happy ending. As a matter of fact, they did an anime way back in the day with the Little Mermaid, and it stuck to the source material.
Yeah, I've seen it. My cousin has it.
And I actually preferred that version of Little Mermaid because fuck you and fuck Disney.
I'd also be remiss if I did not bring up Dead for Schultz, also known as the Free Shooter. If you've seen Hellsing Ultimate, the character Rip Van Winkle is a giant nod to that story.
Mm-hmm.
With, at the end, Alucard playing the role of the wolf in The Wolf's Glen. Which, The Wolf's Glen was not just getting speared by the rifle. Although I'd say the reason for that is because the rifle has 6 bullets. 5 of them will hit their target. The 6th bullet is the devil's target.
Oh.
Ooh.
So,
and the Wolf's Glen involves one of the characters getting thrown into a wolf's cave and getting eaten alive.
Ooh.
And the play is not subtle about it.
Oh.
Okay, and Cinderella, didn't the stepsisters mutilate their own feet to try to get into the glass? I mean, well, the slipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long story short, folks, Germany is all kinds of fucking metal.
Oh yeah.
There's a popular meme of literature across the classical world. It usually goes something like this: French literature, I will die for love. British literature, I will die for free. I will die for honor. American literature, I will die for freedom. Russian literature, I will die. Polish literature,
Sounds that good.
I will kill that Russian and die in the process. And if anyone thinks I'm being a bit extreme, go read it. That's not far removed from how it goes.
You're not entirely wrong.
Let's see.
No, I mean we're
Do I-
talking.
All right.
One at a time.
I mean Mildra. Oof.
Anyway.
And for those that don't know, I'm half Polish.
Ah.
Then you should know how accurate the Polish literature part of that meme is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so the big reason I've decided to cover this is because, well, the usual asshats are at it again. More specifically, this bitch,
Do you
Niara.
have any idea how low that nails it down?
Doesn't narrow it down too much.
Oh yeah, I remember her. She was
Yep.
the one who got bodied by Leafit a few months back.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact,
When
go ahead.
Leafit opened a debate with her, Nyara was completely outclassed and ran out of that thing crying like a little baby.
Yeah. And by the way, if you haven't, I don't know if I'm either thinking of this moron or Bint, but isn't this one a Troon?
Yeah. That was what
basically,
the whole debate with her and Leaflet was on, and it was Leaflet was as cordial as she usually is.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very clear that Niara was prepared to shout and not prepared to talk, and so that's why I say she was completely outclassed.
So basically, Niara was going to filibuster the whole deal, like as leftoids usually do.
This is why I actually personally hate debates these days, because apparently they're nothing more than glorified shouting matches.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I don't do the debate me bro bullshit. But anyway, go on.
Yeah,
It's best not to debate with retards, man.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
no debate about AOC.
Yeah. But anyway, continue, Mildra.
I almost got dragged into a debate on a different topic, and I had said professionals do not care what amateurs have to say.
Exactly.
I thought it occurred to me. Isn't like there's supposed to be an audience with the debate, and it's the audience that votes who's the winner.
Yep. Supposedly,
that can be.
The idea of that's the original idea of it, but now it's like who's nowadays it's like who sounds less of a train wreck than the other guy.
Look, we're all children of the '90s here in one form or another.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of us would want to be even within the splash zone of an episode of Jerry Springer in 1996.
Exactly.
No, no.
Yeah.
So, if I would say that about 1996, and again, splash zone, I use that word for very specific reasons. Why would I want to do that with someone who has even less inclination?
Exactly.
Especially since, true story, I ended up trying out for like 4 different sports when I was younger. Didn't last long in any of them because I got dragged into fights. Only two. Only the only sport where I got dragged into fights and no one cared was hockey for obvious reasons.
Of course.
And the one that I actually started was baseball because I kept getting beaned.
Whoa! Why they keep beaning you? Damn.
Maybe the pitcher didn't like me or something, but I had said to the catcher, if this guy beans me again, I'm rushing the mound and whatever happens is going to happen.
Exactly.
He did it again. So, drop the gloves, drop the bat, drop the hat, and I'm going up the mound. And if you've seen baseball fights, you know how this goes. It is never just 2 guys going at it.
Yeah,
it's
a
whole bench coming
It's a
out.
bench clear. Yep, everyone coming out of the damn bullpens and what have you. But yeah. Any of this debate me bro shit right now is well, it's like I'm gonna put it to a fellow. I'm gonna leave it to a fellow Minnesotan of yours, Mildra.
I couldn't wait to add this to my collection of books about retards.
That's basically it. You know who that is, right?
That sounds very familiar.
Emily Cherie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I was in earshot with some of the debates back when I would be listening to KQ every morning.
Yeah.
Not to sound too Minnesotan. It was where I learned I don't really like Bill O'Reilly that much.
Yeah.
Not because of any of his takes, but because I know a bully when I see it, or in this case, hear it. And
oh yeah.
I will note as a final thing. When I did hockey, if a fight broke out, as a case of whatever, it's hockey. That's what happens. Just don't get in his way.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Niara, I do believe Niara is a bully.
As with most of these pronoun losers are.
I believe that she is someone who, as with most, is willing to talk a big game all day and night, but the moment that they get checked, they fall under one particular mantra that I have in my monastery. Bad actors will appeal to authority when they have it, and appeal to civility when they don't.
Yeah. We're seeing a lot of these appeal to civility crap as of late, for sure.
Yeah. If I could actually interject here, Aaron, I'd like to actually simply add, it's a case of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly.
There was one who tried the whole appeal to civility thing, and I just said, "Ve victis."
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah. So anyway, so this true fuck had apparently said deserved. Say you're a horrible person. Yeah, basically this is one of the most disgusting tweets I've ever seen. And before I block this clown,
sorry, Aaron, but this looks like projection from that bitch's part.
Yeah, I basically, well, what happened was this clown deleted that tweet and said, "Oh, I deleted that tweet," blah, blah, and tried to use a coping post. But I quote tweeted this bitch and posted the tweet she originally posted. Basically, told her to told this true fuck to go to hell and blocked him.
I know that it's common to do the whole tweet and delete, and if you have not to bring up Latin again, but have you ever heard? And I'm going to be butchering pronunciation for this, so I apologize in advance.
Okay.
Veritas aequitas.
Veritas aequitas.
Yes. Veritas aequitas.
Okay, it's true. I know it's truth something.
In wine,
truth and justice. That's what it is. Truth and justice.
Truth.
I actually know about that because
No.
brothers.
Hold on a second. That's not it, because in wine truth is in vino veritas.
Yeah, it's been a long day, but the point is that tweet that she had made and then deleted when the heat got back at her, because it is very classless to say this about somebody who had a wellness check on them.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think about their strongly held beliefs. That was them showing who they actually are. And if I had known that they had said that, I would have just said, how sad must it be to have to walk around pretending to be someone else?
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about your online identity.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And this is not me getting on their status as true. It is the fact that they are someone who will pretend to be something that they're not. That being a decent person.
Yeah.
They're the type of person who will talk at length about the importance of love and believe that is showing love.
Yeah. In this case, I'll put it to you. In this case, everything fits. I mean, think about it. The whole VTube personality, the fact that there's a troon. You're basically wearing like 50,000 masks and to hide their ugly selves, And in this case, with the art, there's the ugly self always shines through.
Whereas, tell me about it, bro.
I may be a VTuber myself, but here's the difference. VTubing for me was just a natural progression.
Mm-hmm.
I was portraying a character for years. This was just a case of I'm already halfway to that point. I may as well make the leap. But I've never had to pretend who I am.
Exactly.
No, you're not subtle at it at all.
Oh, indeed.
No.
So we cleared that. So we cleared that. But like I said, the tweet deleted. Yeah, they ran like a coward, and like I said, but apparently someone also had just as bad of has just an egregious of a take, because
hello,
this bitch decided to opine. This little bitch had to open his fucking mouth.
Son, you just couldn't stop opening your dumb mouth, could ya? I mean, bad enough you could, you basically decided to co-opt Gundam into your commie bullshit mongering, but oh boy,
okay,
you decided to kick a broken man while he was down.
Okay, let's go ahead.
What do you expect? What did you expect? He electrifies his dog.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny that a lot of these people like him and other Muslims are basically trying to say want people to get rid of their damn dogs. Maybe there's something to that, to the whole saying that dogs can sense evil. But anyway, let's play
always
this.
the dogs. It's always the dogs that know before we do.
Yes, they do. I mean, why do you think they can sniff out Terminators? But anyway.
Gotten through trauma.
Bro, he is ugly as sin too. That's like, I did.
First off, you should.
I'm sorry, bro. Is that you throwing a boulder from a glass house? I mean, look at you. You look like a fucking cockroach.
First off, you fucking retard. This goes out to a lot of these leftoids because a lot of these leftoids like to go whenever you try to dunk on them or talk bad about their ideology. They always go after your looks. Okay. And even if you don't even look, even if you look decent, you know, because you've seen the bullshit. You've seen the bullshit. Whenever you dunk on them, they post your profile picture and say, "Oh, look how ugly he is." He 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 he. Apparently, how many times have I said that? That's not our own.
You know, it's kind of ironic coming from them. Guys.
All right, hold up. Let Snow talk. Go. All right, so go.
So, I think it's very ironic that these are the guys like, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a black man because even though we're looking at the fact that the guy did a crime, has a rap sheet, and it was like, don't judge him. He's the victim of everything. The moment it's their opponent, they immediately go to skin surface level of judging.
Well,
if it wasn't for double standards,
there would be no standards.
I know.
All right, go ahead, Mildra.
Oh. Well, since they want to focus on looks so much, I will simply say, one, beauty is skin deep, and two, when it comes to Hassan, you have no game.
Exactly.
You get no bitches. And if it were, and the only reason anyone knows who the hell you are is because of a water buffalo.
Yes. And now I will. Oh, I know. Yeah, bust out the bacon grease. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing, King. The only reason he gets bitches because, like I said, it's the whole aura of the fangirl. Because I've noticed a lot of cosplayers in the last couple weeks have all of a sudden decided to fangirl over Hassan Piker, and I was like, why?
I have one question, Aaron. Why?
That's what I've said. Why?
Because again, he is.
Hold on. Hold on. Snow, finish your point, then Mildred, then jump in.
Okay. He is on a very skin deep level, and this is only skin deep level, a good looking guy who seems intelligent to most women.
Not only that, he's got a lot of money.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Let me just interject. Just interject.
All right, real quick, Matthew. Then we'll get to Mildred's take.
I am anything but a Brad Pitt by any stretch of the word, even in my younger years. That being said, I am many times more attractive than this cockroach ever will be, even on my worst day.
Exactly. And and another thing before we talk about, I don't know why they post my freaking picture, even though my profile picture is AI, I'm better looking than them on their worst day. That's all I gotta say. Mildred, take it away.
So, for one, beauty is, as somebody who's had to work with models in the past, beauty is only skin deep. I will simply say, there are some models I've worked with who are actually intelligent, and there's a lot of them who, comparing them to Zoolander would actually be a compliment. I would not want to lower Zoolander to their level.
Oh God.
Oh dear.
In some cases, I've had to be the guy cleaning up the messes, and I've learned that some of them are more scared of me than they are their agents. Which I'm like, good.
And how tall are you again?
6'6".
666. The dog around the beast.
Matthew.
I regret
Principal's
nothing.
You had to do that, did you? You had to do that, did you?
In my
Principal's
monastery,
office.
that kind of thing is what gets you swimming lessons.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, but here in the Shogunate, that's a principal's office violation.
Now take your ass on down to Oshag Hennessy's office right now and tell him exactly what you did.
Who?
Oshag Hennessy!
Principal O'Shaughnessy?
Get out of my goddamn classroom before I break my foot off in your ass! Insubordinate and churlish.
Hey, Mildra.
Yeah.
We have a little
Nothing.
We have a little something in the Shogunate that if Matthew or anybody for that matter gets sent to the principal's office 3 times, they have to eat a special meal. So, Matthew, you don't want. Be careful.
No, have him drink the punishment drink that Mildred forces Cheetos to drink.
Oh, the punishment drink. Oh, you have to tell me about that sometime. But anyway, so go ahead, finish your point.
So, I often play the long game when it comes to this, and in the process of that, I've kept a close eye on the Social Blade numbers for Mr. Piker.
Uh-oh.
It is not going upwards. It either goes downwards or it stagnates.
So there's no up.
And
it's a website, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we just hop over to that website right now and just check those out?
You know what? That's exactly what we're gonna do before we continue on with the.
I'm gonna be able to from that interjection. I'm just like, you brought up the social blame. Like, hey, we might as well do that.
Last I checked, it was rather stagnant. Some ups and downs here and there, but it's not like he.
What did you check? Did you check his YouTube or just Twitch stats?
I believe it was Twitch because he's not really a YouTube individual.
Okay. All right, I'll go.
Good lord.
And more importantly, as you all know, I have a tendency to play the long game. And by playing the long game, I always end up being the one with the last laugh. And I look at all the people who flock to him, and all I see is this is a man who does not have true friends.
Exactly. Okay.
Tell me about it.
So anyway, here's his Social Blade here, which is pretty good compared to a lot of us, but he's not even in the top 100 of followers, and not even the top 250 of Social Blade rank. And we're looking at some of his followers, and this is over the last few days. Well, it has trended up a little. Let's be fair.
Yeah, it's trended up a little. However, when it comes to
this is the graph. I think this is the one you were looking for right here. Because around this time, I think this right here is where they had the what you call it, the dog collar incident. And it crashed down a little.
Yeah, but you'll notice that there's been bits of upward, and then down, up, and then down. This is why I said stagnant.
Yeah.
If this was say a stock that I was asked about investing in, I would have said I would be bearish, just because it's not really going anywhere.
Yeah, so it's not going in like any upward. It's like any gains he's made, it's just regaining those what he lost, and then all of a sudden, wham, he goes back down.
And because of how he's been relentlessly milked by people like Asmon, like Rev, like Hay, and a few others, I sometimes have to ask myself, are people subbing because they enjoy his content, or are they subbing because
they want to dunk on
watch
his ass?
A car crash?
Yep, that's right. I mean, you can't turn. And one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to a lot of content creators is when they talk about topics, and probably the reason a lot of the up and comers or anybody like that doesn't get any attention online, especially when it comes to your game, when it comes to my game, because of everything else, they can't turn away from a train wreck. I mean that's a much longer story with that one. So.
Yeah, but though he is much like a lot of folks, his whole shtick is playing dumb, and once you know the shtick, anything that he says just is always going to ring hollow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the playing dumb really irritates me. Like, you know it, I know it. Why are you playing stupid?
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point where I think it's just a reflex for him, because because I don't think he understands words. He understands reacting to symbols, but he doesn't understand words.
Well, and not only that, and
make a point to Mildra's point there. It's like, that George Carlin joke about stupid people. There's 3 types, because you got stupid people, you got people that are full of shit, and then you got people that are fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Pretty much, Mr. A. Pretty much.
Now, I will say this. Like I said, the guy acts like he's such a fucking tough guy, especially lately. But we haven't forgotten what happened when Sam Hyde challenged him.
Yeah, he was pretty much doing his best Carly impression.
Let me make the following analogy with that. He thinks he's Sakuraba, but in reality he's Yoji Anjo challenging Hickson Gracie. Yeah. And by the silence, I'm guessing none of you know early MMA history to know about that incident.
Yes, I'm not familiar with the pre-Zuffa era of UFC.
This isn't
UFC.
Anime knowledge is like surface level, so
yeah.
This wasn't UFC. This was pre-Pride. Like pre-Pride FC.
Yeah.
The early days of what was known as shoot style, in Japan. Now, Sakuraba is a legend in both wrestling and MMA, and had a bit of a habit of getting into lengthy fights with the Gracie family. I hope I don't need to explain who the Gracie family is and why they are so goddamn important.
I know who the Gracie family is.
Well, at one point, Yoji Anjo's mentor was making a bunch of challenges after embarrassing Trevor Berbick in UWFI. Was making a bunch of challenges to Hickson Gracie, who was considered one of the toughest guys in early MMA at that time.
Trevor Berbick, that name sounds familiar. Didn't he fight Tyson?
He fought both Tyson and Ali. He was the guy who got knocked out by Tyson that led to Tyson's rise. He was also the last guy Ali fought.
Yeah.
Long after Ali should have retired. But he also had a bit of a legal background, if you catch my drift.
Oh.
And got screwed over in one of the most blatantly worked fights I'd ever seen. But Hickson's response was, "I won't challenge you in a wrestling ring, but you're free to come over into a cage and fight."
Oh.
Yoji Anjo apparently didn't get the memo. Went straight up to Hickson's gym in California and challenged him directly. Which, on one hand, I have to respect the balls of the man to do that, but on the other hand, you just signed your death warrant, bitch.
More guts than brains.
Supposedly, Hickson had said, and it's not known if he actually said this, but it's been passed around. If we fight for money, I'll stop hitting you when you ask me to. If we fight for honor, I'll stop hitting you when I feel like it.
Oh yeah. Basically, to Mildred's point, I'd actually would like to say, don't cash any checks that either your ass or your mouth can't cash.
No, the saying goes, don't have your mouth write checks that your ass can't cash.
Exactly.
And that is why I wasn't surprised when after all that talk, and I know that Hassan has been trying to start stuff with Asmund, who lives rent free in his head.
Yep.
And
oh yeah.
The thing is not only is that not going to happen, he's never going to go through with it because he knows if he loses, it's going to make himself look worse.
Yeah, he'll all his fan not only that, all his it shatters the whole myth, the myth that surrounds Hassan, and you want to bet all his fangirls fucking bolt for the fucking exits.
Yeah, exactly. Also, expect from somebody from some rich devil baby that actually freaking leeches off of his rich Uncle Tank Uger from the Young Turks.
Oh yeah, but anyway,
we've seen this kind of thing before, where somebody who's politically compromised tries to talk up a big game, confident in the idea that they will never be directly challenged, and whenever they are, they completely run for the hills. I think there was one chick who was trying to put out challenges right up until someone was like, "All right, I will get in contact with the athletic commission. We can set something up."
Oh, wait a minute. Are you talking about Mercante? I think you're talking about Mercante.
Yeah,
I think it was either Vera Dark or Tara La Rosa, who...
It was Vera Dark. Vera Dark was the one that was like, okay, Mercante, you want to go around issuing challenges? I'll take a challenge. And that caused Mercante to back off because apparently she was afraid of Vera Dark.
Yeah. Some tells me Vera Dark.
And now she's working as a waitress.
Yeah. And her only lifeline is suing Smash JT. But anyway. Yeah, we're getting
by the way, Aaron?
Yeah.
I think I hear a sound. I think the fries are ready.
Oh, wait a minute. Hey.
Oh.
Yeah, where are you right here? Hey, Mercante. Fries ready. Order up.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, we're going way off the rails on that one, so let's just take a look at this.
Yeah, he's chopped as hell, bitch. Fuck you mean?
Chopped?
Brother, I'm gonna make fun of him a lot more, even after he openly reveals that he almost committed suicide here, okay?
February. I discover him.
There's Lo, and then there's Hassan Tiger.
Yeah.
With my best friend of 10 years.
Oh, look at this.
I confronted her.
Go fuck yourself, you loser.
She apologized. I bought alcohol that was the same alcohol. The last alcohol.
Look at this little bitch gloating.
And then I drove.
What's he even gloating about? He is the one that did the damage.
Yeah.
And drank. Just sitting there drinking.
Stupid shit-eating grin.
Busan, you're not even anything. You're nothing.
And suddenly.
That's probably just me saying, but Hassan Piker is probably the most punchable face I've ever seen.
And he saved me at the last moment. He did.
I'm going to put it to you this way, folks. I'm going to put it to you this way. The reason these idiots can act like the way they can do it because for some reason, some rhyme or reason, they're shielded from accountability. They're shielded from consequences.
In other words, Aaron, they're internet tough guys.
Exactly. And the thing here is, and eventually that shield ain't going to be around forever. Okay? I'm going to be honest with you. Eventually, if you fuck up too much, eventually someone's going to come roll up on you. All right? So they can laugh, they can gloat at every near suicide or in some cases homicides if they're enemies as much as possible, but they don't realize eventually the longer you pull back that rubber band, the harder it's gonna snap. You know?
There's also the fact that when they are celebrating those kind of deaths, think about what a normal average person is seeing looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
They think of it stupid, but again, what pisses me off nowadays is we're not in normal times. In normal times, these people are easily ignored. They're shunned. We used to shun people like that back then, but now it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's like they don't care. It's like they don't give a fuck anymore. They. It's like I think this is the problem with some of these people that they're like, oh, I just want a grill and everything like that. But and like I said, it goes back to this point. Listen, I understand, and they don't want to get involved. I can understand that. I respect that. But these motherfuckers, that they don't. But people like Hassan, they don't. They don't.
You know, I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
I'm playing the long game.
Exactly. I hear you.
I was going to ask, when did we reach this point?
I don't know.
Then I immediately then I immediately remember something one Brian Niemeyer once said that points to a certain year in history called cultural ground zero.
Oh, you're talking about the theory that in the late '90s, cultural hit its apex, and ever since then we've been either regressing or pretty much frozen in that time. I actually believe that. I actually believe in that theory. I mean, with the exception
Same here, man.
With the exception,
I'm pretty much buying it. I'm pretty much buying into that theory more and more each day.
Now, don't get me wrong.
I'm a simple kind of man. I believe the 90s was the best time, at least the very late 90s and early 2000s.
I'm more of an 80s to early 2000s type guy myself.
Same here. Okay. But let me put it to you this way. Although there are some exceptions to that rule, and there's been plenty of exceptions, but ever since that point, the needle is like stuck. It's like you can't. It's stuck. It's like a stuck pinball in a machine. You have to freaking beat it overhead. It doesn't do anything. But the damn machine keeps going tilt. But yeah, and so with that said, this yes, this one, Hassan and Niara and those other assholes that they're gloating over his attempted sunsetting. Clownasses of the week.
Enough from the clown.
Deal, face the wheel.
Well, in this case, you know what? Nah, this is a more fitting punishment since they like to wish death on people. Okay, you know what? Where are you?
I was thinking more coast of Japan.
No. All rise, everybody, as the revolving shogunate court is now in order. The Honorable Reeve, Judge Alvin Volkenheiser presides.
Okay, I hereby find all parties culpable in these matters as charged, and so choose to invade the maximum levy for these violations, and do therefore deem that you be conveyed to a holy, awful place of execution, wherein you shall be put to death.
Yep. Yeah, and if you know this movie well, you know what type of fate that these fuckers will face.
Bone stripper.
Yes, sir.
I keep saying, Aaron,
Put him under the prison.
Well, anyway, so
I keep saying, Aaron, we need a wheel of judgment in the shogunate.
I think we should. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. But anyway, while we're on the subject of culture, now we're finally getting to the reason why the monk has graced the Shoguncast with our presence. We're here to talk about Final Fantasy Legend Edition, and apparently we have so Mildra, floor is yours. Tell us in case people haven't I can't speak tonight. Tell us
English. Do you speak it?
Okay, so give us a little background of the game. I know you've said something, but go ahead for those people who haven't noticed and tell us why you have decided to come here tonight.
So, obviously, Legend Edition has been my project for the last 4.5 years. Started out as a series of Google Docs, expanded into something more than that. It has the honor of being the first and so far only tabletop RPG to have made an appearance at Sage. And it is a successor to the lineage of the Returners projects that go all the way back to the mid-90s.
Hold on.
That started in just a mailing group with some students up in Alaska.
Hold on. I have the timeline right in front of me here. All right, here it is. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me go ahead and switch out the. Hold on. Where is it?
I will admit, when it came to creating that timeline, that it was a bit tricky because you're dealing with second and third hand stuff, as well as trying to pull stuff from sites that no longer exist.
Yeah, here's the timeline right here.
Yeah. You have the first edition in '99, the second edition in 2001. The third edition started in 2001, but didn't get made until 2009. And in the process of that, you have some of the team members breaking off and doing their own things, which is where you get Zodiac, Seed, and D6. With Zodiac, I know that came out in 2001. D6 and Seed, we can't find when that came out. And looking at like the metadata of the PDF, that's not going to do us any good because it could be a copy of a copy for all we care. For all we know, I should say. But after 2009, other folks decide to take a swing at it based on what came before. You have Bahamut Academy, which I'd love to do a deep dive on, but it's in Portuguese, so my ability to look deeply into that is limited. I've heard it was an attempt to mix Zodiac and 3rd edition. I've also heard it wasn't very good. Then you have stuff like the 4th edition project made by Bruno, which has no connection to the 3rd edition teams. Then, of course, in 2019, you have Omega Fantasy, made by Omega over in Germany. And I'd love to get some of the full background with him, but nobody's been able to find him for years. He just disappeared.
Serious.
Now, I think
he made a...
When did he disappear?
Shortly after he made a 2nd edition for it.
So, my guess would probably be around 2020, right?
I think 2022. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, things are a little weird around Germany around that time. But anyway.
Like I think I've tried my best to find like it. The last post that he made was in 2020, and even his Discord profile within the FF Tabletop Discord is deleted.
Oh, so it's got something to do with probably personal problems and hope, and like I said, Germany right now, as a matter of fact, a lot of Europe, they've been going through some shit as of late. So hopefully all is well with that guy. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, I do hope he's doing well. And there were a few other folks who were involved in it who have disappeared. The last major post of his was in 2022.
Okay.
And that was when he put up a module called Matoya's Ring. And of course, then we put out the feature complete version in 2025 for Legend Edition, taking elements from what came before. And of course, there were other attempts that used other systems. There's one that uses Pathfinder. There's one that uses the Age system. There's one that uses Savage Worlds. There's been a bunch of other attempts all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, I did comment on some of this when I did the extra show, because I wasn't able to make the original show.
Yeah.
During coverage of the incident that led me to fire my former colleagues and people who I was friends with, very good friends, for 3 years.
Oh, they're playing the victims.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we covered that on a past episode of SHOGUNCAST, and yeah, we already know what's going on. And considering considering the situation that you're currently in, and the work I'm doing as of right now,
I will get to that in a minute.
Yeah,
I will simply say that
hold on.
I will simply say that I had the last laugh, because the two people that I booted haven't done anything since. The one person who was salty at me after I did what I did, I haven't. Not only have I not heard anything from her, but when it comes to her own project, the Mech RPG All Systems Go, that's been languishing since last August.
Oh.
Let me guess. The mech RPG she was working on is another version of Lancer, right?
No, at least not what I saw when I went over it, and I did give feedback on. But the people who had orchestrated everything and really pushed for what I had called monk derangement syndrome. Their fixed version of the project is going nowhere. The person who was spearheading it has lost all motivation to do anything tabletop Final Fantasy. What was probably the final nail was, we have a Wikidot page that is nearly finished.
Ooh.
All of the character creation stuff is up there. We have, thanks to our good friend Tabby, we have a better Excel character sheet as well as NPC sheet that is significantly better organized and better optimized. There's not a lot of scrap code in it, and a lot of the wiki was done. They had 4 months to do their wiki. Tabby got to that point and beyond in less than 1.
Ooh, Tabby must have put her foot in that one.
And while doing it while learning HTML in the process. So.
Oh, so she was a beginner at this. So I'm starting to see a pattern here, because if they're so-called professionals, they're taking forever to do their shit, which a freaking person who's learning as they go did in one. And not only that, and I know this is going to be a disclaimer here, I am working on rebuilding his book right now, okay? And I'm going to tell you this is candidly. Sure, it looks good. It looked good. This is the this copy that I have right now. This is the last version that they've worked on. Okay, it looks good, but the problem here is layout wise. I don't know. Now I don't know if it's due to the fact they've worked on a later version of InDesign. That could be a factor, but
no PDF should be 300 megabytes.
Yeah.
Damn.
And not only that, the formatting was dog shit. I mean,
now, as far as the whole no PDF should be 300, let me contest that for a moment.
Yeah,
because when you're dealing with something that has a very high page count and is very detailed, that is going to happen.
Well, I'm not blaming.
I'm going to stop you there.
Time out.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
There were plans on doing a compressed version, but since they decided to pull out, that never happened. There were plans to do video tutorials, but of course that isn't going to happen as originally planned.
Sounds like they were. I don't know. Maybe I think they were blowing smoke up your ass. But go ahead.
There is that possibility. But I distinctly remember you stating that the way things were layered was amateurish.
It was.
And the only reason I was able to get InDesign files in this manner is there is a little trick with the latest version of InDesign, which I ended up getting a trial version of just to do this, and then I canceled my trial. Is the fact that you can reverse engineer a PDF of a certain size and a certain page count back into an InDesign file.
Yes, you can.
Because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get the original because, well, she proudly said that she was going to be holding those files up as a way to get back at me.
Yeah. So in a way, this is sort of
a section of what was that video? That one review of it.
Well, can I just get to my part, which I was going to say?
Go ahead.
What was that paper called that does all the pages at once? You called it something, Aaron.
Oh, I don't know. I think
it was like in sheets or something. Like, what was it called? But basically,
what are you talking about?
If you do this, it does it to every single page in the PDF, like all the layering.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. There was no masters. There was no masters.
Yeah. Aaron literally told me there was no master. That could save you so much space with a single map.
And it has, because for every chapter I've done with this, there's always a master. But for chapter 8 said spell. I'm at the part where we're doing spell casting. I'm gonna have to put several masters in that chapter, because the reason I do masters is because it saves time on editing. Number one, number two, I think it probably cuts down on the file size, because you're not using so many freaking files at one time.
It does. It really does.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm doing I don't know if they used masters or not. Again, they used a later version of InDesign, and usually anything that Adobe has put out that's basically now rentware, I don't touch with a 10-foot pole.
If Affinity does master pages, it does save room.
Yes.
So when I'm saying your PDF should not be like 300 megabytes,
yes, it's mostly because
yes, you should compress, because not everyone's going to have the latest and greatest PC.
That's true.
Not everyone's going to be the most optimized PDF reader.
Now,
the thing is,
go ahead.
You're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, this isn't. I don't think this is Mildred's fault or Zan's fault. Okay, I don't.
No, I'm not saying it was anyone's fault. I was saying it's their fault.
I know. Okay, there you go. Because, like I said, because again. As I said,
I'm not attacking you on this.
Oh,
I'm just
no.
saying a PDF should not be 300
Yeah.
megabytes.
Yeah.
If you thought I was attacking you, my apologies. That was not my intent.
Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
Originally, the sole reason it ended up looking the way it did in this form was the two of them volunteering. One of them was already working with me on getting the character sheet made, and then one thing led to another, and shifted towards that. But what ended up frustrating me in the aftermath is I started seeing all of these problems for what I was repeatedly told was a fixed product.
Fixed, huh?
And because of the fact that nobody knows any better, whenever these problems are brought up or inconsistencies are brought up or things that I specifically asked to be fixed were brought up,
they didn't fix it.
You've seen the errata. They were not fixed, and in some cases put things in the hope and confidence that I wouldn't notice.
Yes. Oh, by the way,
of course, when all these things happen, guess who ends up being the one who takes the blame for it?
You.
Me.
And I can see why they did it, because they did a lot of other crap. Like, for instance, there was a thing they said cultural diversity. I think this is in races, and
yes,
and you saw it's like wait, no, we're not doing that. So you decided
now,
to put
the text within that sidebar itself. That was something I wrote, but I wrote it as in the raw text GM note, and it was what I was trying to do. What I was trying to do with that sidebar was make clear that the races in your setting don't have to be an exact copy of the races as they're portrayed in the games or even in other forms of pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, if you want to lean that route, you're free to do so. But I never wrote it as cultural diversity. If I did, I would have put it in quotes and made sure I'm doing this as an irony.
Yeah. Instead, you put built different. Now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand what they're trying to do. However, I just want to let you know that as part of the process, I'm rebuilding the entire book from scratch because I have to relink all the files and everything like that. And then once I get done rebuilding it, before I put them all together, I'm going to be going line by line down that errata because I figure I do this one step at a time, because this way I don't have to go back and having to go back and mark things because if I do I'd be losing time. But right now, where I'm at right now with rebuilding your book is I'm at the beginning of the spellcasting chapter.
Yep.
And that's a long chapter.
Yeah, spellcasting is probably the largest entry in the book, simply because it has to account for multiple types of magic as well as summoning, and every summon entry is in there twice.
Yep.
You got for the yokai.
Mm-hmm.
One for the yokai and one for the summoner.
All right. Listen. Guys, talk amongst yourselves. Keep going if you want, Mildra. I gotta head to the head for a second. Back in a minute.
No worries. There's one thing I can do. It's talk. So
I do have a bit of a question for you, Mildra. And I think you answered it before, but I think that relates to. But yeah, considering Magitech mechs can be used, would it be possible if we were to make a game based on Xenogears or any of the Xeno series?
That's already been tackled, and you would have to make the gears and gear combat yourself, but the foundation is there.
Yeah, I asked because Xenogears was going to be Final Fantasy VII at one point.
When it comes to that, you have to take that sort of thing with a grain of salt and the acknowledgement of there's a lot of things that get proposed and dropped very, very quickly, especially in early game development. And a lot of times during early game development, there's a lot of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
This is the case with film, with video games, and with comic books, and with tabletop games.
Yeah. That being said, I'd be more than down for a TTRPG of a Xeno game.
Yeah. Now, as far as doing Xenosaga, I think trying to do that. The issue with that is the fact that episodes 1, 2, and 3 have very different energies to each other, so you would have to develop some sort of Venn diagram that goes right through all 3 of them. And
either that or just make episodes 4 through 6.
Well, we're never gonna have the notes for that, so just doing that is not a good idea. It's the same reason why I was so very harsh on, say, Avatar Legends for focusing so much on trying to emulate the TV show and not the world the TV show takes place in. That is a big distinction that needs to be made clear. If I am to write, for example, a Xenogears RPG, I am not by any means, and I need to make this explicitly clear, I am not interested in just replicating the story in the video game. If I'm writing a Xenogears RPG, I'm writing it. It is focused less on that story and more on the world that story takes place in. This is a distinction that if you want to see what happens when you don't do this, I refer to the Indiana Jones RPG that was made by TSR in the late 80s, which assumed that the people playing it would only want to play as the cast from the movies. It got savaged hard by pretty much every critic at the time, especially in the pages of Dragon and White Dwarf. They were not kind to it. And White Dwarf especially, and White Dwarf in the 80s, they did not play around. If they did not like your game, they would make sure you knew it. And TSR didn't fight back as far as keeping that license. Then West End Games got it, did the World of Indiana Jones for the Master Book series, didn't do that, and that was much better received. Marvel Phase Rip almost fell for that trap because the original book didn't have any character creation. That wasn't until the advanced book.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
If the advanced book didn't come out, Marvel Phase Rip would not be as beloved as it is. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. So
and some people are just afraid of being shot.
Yeah, I think in some of these, I think that's the problem with some of these games that are developed from existing IPs. I think the problem is a lot of these IP holders don't know tabletop. Doesn't even know one thing about tabletop. It's very rare for them to actually know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I would have to contest that, because there are far too many examples of people who did know what they're doing and do. Just as an example, there's not pretty much everybody who's worked on these Star Wars TTRPGs over the years knows what they're doing. In some of them, they had such an impact that they ended up being back adapted into the Star Wars canon.
Are you referring to the wrestling game?
D6 is one example. That was the first use of the racial name Twi'lek. And when Timothy Zahn was starting the Heir to the Empire trilogy, the best book trilogy, he was sent a bunch of copies of Star Wars D6 as research material. He was sent that straight from Lucas Books. And like I said, a lot of concepts that would become canon in the Star Wars universe started with that RPG.
Yeah.
When it comes to Star Trek...
According to Kathy Kennedy, she doesn't have much material to go off of.
I don't give a shit about Nero.
No one.
I do not give a shit about Nero. I am not entertained. I am not entertaining discussing her.
Hold on, time out. Kathleen Kennedy's finally gone. We don't need to bring her up, Ethereal.
Thank you, God.
And as a matter of fact, I'm sorry, Ethereal. It's principal's office time, my man.
Now take your ass on down to Oshag Hennessy's office right now and tell him exactly what you did.
Who?
Oshag Hennessy!
Principal O'Shaughnessy?
Get out of my goddamn classroom before I break my foot off in your ass! Insubordinate and churlish.
Fine, take a mad with me.
Now,
go ahead,
in that
Mildred.
same vein, Star Trek has had a long history of high quality TTRPGs, whether it be the FASA era, the Last Unicorn era, which still gets unofficial support to this day, the Coda era, which was very good but short-lived due to outside things that happened with Decipher. That's a whole other story, and it's kind of depressing. And most recently with Modiphius with the 2D20 books. And I know Dragon's gonna go off about how he doesn't like 2D20. That's not relevant. They are well received. They have a reliable fan base, and as somebody who's gone through first and second edition of that book, I've enjoyed it personally. Modiphius does very, very good with what they have. Yes, there have been stinkers like Avatar Legends, or the Essence 20 projects, that being Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, and Transformers. However, there are far too many good entries.
All right. Hey, sorry to cut you off there, Mildred, but I believe Snow has a question here.
I believe I've been wanting to interject for a while, guys. Everyone was speaking over me.
Oh yeah, I'm very sorry
but
about
I
that.
feel like we need to have a turn order for when we're about to ask questions for Mildred.
Well, okay, all right. So here's what we're gonna do. I mean, yeah, because I was out in the head for a few minutes, so that's why I couldn't jump in. But anyway, all right.
I didn't want to be rude and interrupt Mildred, but at the same time, everyone else was asking questions over me. I'm like,
all right, okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Okay, go ahead, Mildred, and once you're finished, I'll have Snow ask you one. All right.
Yeah, but the point is that within the current landscape and beyond, there are far more entries that are using IP that are high quality than not. Have there been some stinkers or some games that utilize the wrong systems? Yes. But for every one of those, there's 5 that don't. So I do. So it's one of those things where it becomes very clear when you look at the totality of the landscape, which is kind of my thing.
Okay. All right. So now what? Okay. Okay, so finally we get to you. Is there anything you want to ask?
Well, yeah, I'm going to ask the most basic question of all, which is, what compelled you to make a Final Fantasy game when there's so many other Final Fantasy games out there? This is just me being curious.
Well, this all started in May about 4 years ago, where just as a thought experiment on Geek Watch, I decided to try and theory craft attaching Final Fantasy jobs to the track system in Legend system. Now, for those who are unaware, Legend is a fork of 3rd edition D&D that was originally part of the Test of Spite Arena challenge back on Giant in the Playground. The idea was, okay, everybody has their fixes for 3rd edition. Let's see you make one, motherfuckers. A group of people who went under the label Rule of Cool did that, and that ballooned into them making it its own game. Eventually things sputtered off. They did other stuff. Someone else took over and made a revamp called Stuff of Legend, which I have, but I haven't read through yet. And the goal that I had with Legend Edition, because I'm well aware that there's plenty that are out there, I have covered plenty of them, was I noticed one particular thing that started to become a pet peeve. A lot of Final Fantasy TTRPGs, or adjacent ones, skew towards the SNES era. Now, let me be clear. I've got nothing against that era. I like 4, 5, and 6, and Mystic Quest a little bit as well. However, we have whole generations who have more of a connection with the PS1 era. We have a whole generation who has more of a connection with the PS2 era. We have a whole generation who started out with the PS3 era. There's going to be a whole generation for whom 16 will be their first entry. And if someone were to take some of the existing ones and said, I want to do something that leans more into 7, they would have to house rule so much that they'd end up having to make a whole game in and of itself. And I don't think that is a satisfactory answer to just say, just house rule, bro. It's in that same vein as why Bethesda gets all the shit that they do for hoping that modders will bail them out. Which, clock struck midnight on that one recently, but I digress. If I'm gonna give Bethesda shit...
So that's what compelled you to make the yokai class, because that was more up with Final Fantasy 16, where you can literally become the villain. Okay.
That happened by accident. Oh, and I'll get to the yokai in a minute, but the goal that I had is pretty much summarized within the first pillar that I wrote in chapter 1. Mythos over setting. I wanted to make a Final Fantasy TTRPG that was not only setting agnostic, but used the mythos, those recurring elements throughout the series, as a sandbox that could be taken in whatever direction a table wanted to. Because in the back of my mind, I remembered something that Casey Hudson said during the development of Mass Effect. How they built the world to be a place where they could tell any kind of story they wanted to. And especially built the Citadel in the spirit of that. And my mindset was that is what I think we needed to see. Because even a game like Fabula Ultima, which I've had some tension with, especially with some of the attitudes of its designer through a few stories that I can't talk about while I'm live, because I made a promise. Still, despite it claiming that you could use it to run just about any kind of JRPG, putting aside my issues with that term, it still is skewing towards the SNES era. Still skewing towards that particular brand of Japanese steampunk. And if somebody doesn't want to do that, if they want to lean more into a naturalistic approach, or they want to lean more into outright futuristic, then they're kind of SOL unless they house rule it to the point where they're making their own damn game. That was why Mythos oversetting was the first pillar that I wrote before I wrote any rules.
Okay, so you basically want to make something that could fit with every single Final Fantasy game, no matter what.
Not just every, to a reasonable degree, but also fit in directions that haven't been accounted for.
I meant in terms of mechanics, stuff like that, not in terms of actual settings.
Yeah, when it comes to mechanics, I had no intention of ever trying to implement the mechanics of every single entry. I've seen people do that whole thing of, oh, we need to write rules for everything. I'm like, no. I'm writing the center point in a Venn diagram and leaving room to go in whatever direction the table wants to.
Mm-hmm.
The analogy I often use is, I'm making the blue bucket of Legos we all had as kids. I'm not making a Lego playset.
Yeah, because the one that Amy's going to be running on Saturday is going to be in space. The premise that we're going to be on a city strip.
So city ship kind of reminds me of Phantasy Star 3. I mean, Phantasy Star 3 was a fantastic concept, just the execution of it was meh.
Oh yeah.
So
that's basically why Phantasy Star 4 was a return to form.
Yeah. Let's see here. Is there anybody else got anything for Mildra?
I basically already said what I asked what I wanted to ask of him. So
yeah. I will note as a follow-up to what was asked earlier. I wouldn't be all that keen on doing the Xenoblade Chronicles entries in my system, if only because somebody else has already built a game specifically around that being Blades of Ether, and I don't want to take shine off of them.
Yeah. There's a couple. Now as I look through this book, I'm going to go by chapter to chapter, and I want to get your impressions on this. And I'm not going to cover the first one because obviously that's pretty much introductions and what have you. But you basically have an 8-step character creation process. So can you walk us through this one and talk about what the whole concept is for this one?
Yeah. So with character creation, it is a step process, and the first step is choosing your package of abilities. I made the decision to not have these be rolled or be on a point-based system because I felt that you would end up with people trying to give themselves the best setup possible, and I wanted people to have to make decisions that are going to give them a weakness, no matter how they spread it.
Okay.
So instead of rolling for your stats like you would in Warhammer or any D20 based game, or having a point based approach like in World of Darkness, you pick one of 3 packages. You assign the numbers to those packages to 6 abilities: Vigor, Agility, Vitality, Mind, Spirit, and Persona. And before anyone says anything, no, Persona is not a nod to the video game series of the same name. It is your force of personality.
So basically a charisma stat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of people fall for a very common trap of assuming charisma equates to physical attractiveness, and even the DM's guide for one of the original D&D editions tackled this using the example of Napoleon Bonaparte, of somebody who was charismatic but wasn't physically attractive.
Yeah, that's a big problem with that's a big misconception with charisma. It's not just your looks, okay? The whole thing with charisma is the whole thing with the charisma stat. A lot of people, I'm surprised a lot of people haven't realized this, that this is basically your speech. This sort of governs your speech craft, or your your idea to read the room, read the social room, or because there are some situations it's in tabletop games, especially in Final Fantasy, and even to a bigger degree in Ronin, in which you have to which you can just talking your way out of a situation, and you having a high stat could get you out of a lot of bullshit.
Yeah. Now,
it's also why in my game that I'm trying to build up, DGS, your grace stat is determined by both your willpower and your physique. Your physique is your physical looks. Willpower is your charisma.
Okay, let's keep going.
Now, furthermore, while there are some things that are going to be set in stone as far as what they affect, it isn't a case where there's this one stat that is the dump stat.
Oh,
especially given the fact that the only spread that gives positive to everything is generalist, and that's only a +1. So,
I've noticed for character creation. So instead of rolling, which I've looked at this a bit more. I might consider tweaking. I might consider tweaking with my own game, because, like I said, the reason I went with that character creation setup is because, like I said, it's basic as it gets, but I do admire the fact that you decide to do a sort of a three package setup, where generals is basically your jack of all trades deal. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you have a specialist, which is basically they're exceptional at one thing, but pretty good at a couple other things, but quite awful at a few. So this is where all the
I remember versatile.
Yeah. And then
versatile is right in the middle between general and special.
Yeah, it's like you don't get as many penalties, but the bonuses aren't as high as, say, specialist, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a total of 6 it's 6 for that one total. Then it's 5 for versatile, and the specialist is only 4.
And there has been that whole thing that some people have gone through where they try and look at the sum. That wasn't how I had built. I didn't build it with a sum in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've stated in the past, just because I'm using a D20, that doesn't mean you can apply D&D thinking to this. I've seen plenty of people make that mistake and be humbled very quickly.
Yeah, God knows I've made that mistake quite a few times.
Now, the second step is race. I made very clear that every race was going to be built on a certain pattern, and I wasn't going to do a bunch of racial features. It is you're always going to get a similar amount of things. A +1 to one of your ability modifiers, which is going to be made clear with each choice of race. It is either one physical or one mental. Can't do both. 1 feat from one of the categories that's listed.
Okay.
Because I did decide to categorize feats. One of the 7 skills is treated as an origin skill, which has the highest rate of development, but you're not going to get origin skills all that easily. The approach is, if it's untrained, you get a bonus akin to 1/4 your level. If it's trained, you get a bonus at half level. If it's origin, you get a bonus equal to level.
Mm-hmm.
And you also get usually one racial feature. Some races will have a optional feature that either isn't going to have a whole lot of mechanical impact or is going to be a narrative disadvantage. Such as androids' artificial being optional feature, which just means that you can't gain HP back from magic. Think of it akin to the way droids work in Knights of the Old Republic, where you can heal them through other means, but you can't use. But force heal doesn't work on them because they're not alive in that sense.
So the Hildry ability for the what is it, Elozin is a more narrative thing.
It isn't. Yeah, it is a optional thing. Okay. If you're doing that, you'd probably want to talk with your GM about what your heraldry is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do a list of heraldries because that would would be missing the point.
Yeah, not only that, it's more heraldry is more flavor. It's just character flavor and character, and I would say for the most part, character flavor is sort of like something that could be done outside of the boundaries of the rules, because it's you know what I mean, because this is why you don't want this. I mean, because any minutia, any character minutia like heraldry or your coat of arms or what or like your street tag or anything like that. That's I would say that's more like stuff that if you don't need the book to cover it. You know what I mean?
Especially if I'm trying to be setting agnostic.
Exactly.
I have a pet peeve with games that claim setting agnosticism, but in practice are not. This was why I brought up how I have a big problem with Fiber the Ultimate claiming that setting agnosticism, but when you look at the classes in it, when you look at the weapons in it, when you look at the fact that there is a line between normal and martial weapons, or the fact that in some games like D&D exotic weapons exist, it's a case of the left hand not knowing what the right hand's doing.
Yeah.
Or Power Rangers being Zordon heavy.
Yeah, because I have looked at if there's one thing that you have done when you mentioned setting agnostic, you actually meant it, because going through your book, I see a lot of influences from not from just multiple Final Fantasy games. All right, like for instance, Elazin, Hume. That's all based on like oh my god, what we're talking about? We're talking about like Final Fantasy 11 and 14, even though they do have different names, but it's the same deal. Mithra obviously coming from Final Fantasy 14, I believe, and 11.
No,
as well.
11. They were Mikote in 14.
Yeah, that's right. Because in 11 and 14 they look similar, but they had different names.
And it was a case of I had to go with one, and I didn't want one entry to be overrepresented.
Yes. So then of course you have dwarves that are from the classic Final Fantasy games. We're talking everything from like one like the first four. I want actually first five, because then of course they came back in 9. All right.
Oh. And now some of the ones have been a recurring name, but aren't outright named in the games themselves. Like the Varg are a nod to the werewolves from 5. But Varric had been used as a name for those werewolves since the Returners days, so I just kept it.
Okay.
There is a Wolfman like race in 14, but I felt I already had enough representation of 14 in the list.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I also see a little nod to 12 here with the Vieira, a nod to 10 with the Ronzo, and Albed. Bermesi, a nod to 9. The Banga, a nod to Tactics A2.
Tactics Advanced specifically.
Tactics Advanced, yes.
Vieira and Banga first appeared in Tactics Advance.
Oh yeah.
Their appearance in 12 was because 12 was part of a project called Evil East Alliance.
Yeah, the Evil East Alliance. Yeah, where you have that Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Advance being of that same continuity.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And within each of them, I wanted to keep the impact of the races light because I didn't want that to overly dictate what kind of class and job setup someone picks.
Okay.
I didn't I remember when I would play D&D 4th edition, and if you picked Dragonborn as your race, it was likely you were going to be playing fighter or paladin or one of the martial classes, not any of the casters.
Oh,
there were certainly Dragonborn casters, but they were a rarity.
So you don't want to. So the plan is you don't want to pigeonhole them into certain classes.
Yeah. Now, the third and fourth step kind of go along with each other. That being your choice of class and your choice of jobs.
Yeah.
Now, in some games, multi-classing is a side thing that has a lot of pitfalls. In this, what would be multi-classing in other games is baked in right from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Because your class is a chassis. It is determining your rate of increase for HP and MP. It is determining the starting amount of skills you have trained. And it is determining one of your 4 limit breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And I will note, I chose to go with limit breaks as a boosted version of what that job or class can already do, because limit breaks as an uber attack for a TTRPG just was not interesting to me. And I knew it would be something that people would intentionally chase. Plus, adding a limit break gauge like you'd see in 7, 9, 10, or 10 would mean that would be one more resource to track, and I would also have to figure out how impactful damage would be on that. So, to quote Batman Forever, it just raises too many questions.
Exactly.
I have, especially since the idea of limit break as an uber attack had been tried elsewhere, and you'd end up with a bunch of custom uber attacks that, if it's just a stronger attack option, if you're not playing a character for whom offense is going to be their thing, how are you going to have something that's going to have the same impact? There is also the fact that a lot of the limit breaks in the video games are very character focused. Some of them even more so. Looking at you, Vincent, and the limit break setup in 14 is an emergency button specifically for small scale and large scale raids, if I'm being honest.
So basically, yeah.
If there's any analog to how I have limit breaks, consider them akin to the 2-hour ability in 11, and to a certain extent, the game breaker ability that was in Fantasy Craft, which is one of the game's major influences.
So basically,
it isn't.
You're treating the limit breaks as sort of like the red button, basically. The little red button.
It doesn't give you some new Uber attack. What it does is what that particular class or job is already doing, just a lot better. A major inspiration was the Raising the Death Flag ability in Heavens and Heresies. Which Heavens and Heresies was a 5e fork that Zan and I covered a long time ago. We really, really enjoyed. And Raising the Death Flag just made it so that what your class already could do would become ridiculously overpowered, but at the end of the encounter, your character dies. Limit breaks in this you can activate one of them when you're below half health. Its effects last for the rest of the encounter, but you don't get but you only get one of them. Now, I'm not doing the whole permadeath thing because in fact, I remember one of the bad actors tried to push for having death mechanics, like in FFD6. The reason I didn't was I was taking the approach that John Wick, no, not that one, did when he brought 7th Sea back. That permanent character death should be the culmination of a dramatic moment. And if you look at the times where permanent character death happens in Final Fantasy itself, it is rare, and it is usually part of a very specific moment in that story.
Like it was death in 7.
Yeah, that is definitely like the most famous example.
Yeah, Eris's death in 7, Shadow's death in 6 if you didn't wait for him. General Leo's death. Galef's death.
I'd also
in
bring
5.
up I'd bring up his death in 5, especially in the whole going out in a blaze of glory kind of way.
Yeah, Galef's death in 5 is extremely underrated. Because
very much. Then there's Tella's death in Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah.
Now, we'll probably get into the job specifically, but a part of the reason why I went with this track-based approach with jobs is there's been plenty of characters throughout the series that don't fit into one specific entry within the job setup. Like Rydia in her child and in her adult form doesn't exactly fit a straight up summoner like in the way some of my predecessors have tackled it.
Yeah.
You have some characters who are all over the place, like say any character's kit in 6, 7, or 8, because of the more freeform approach that they're taking, and you have characters like Steiner who are doing the whole Magic Knight thing, as well as to use another example in 9, Amaranth, who is this hybrid of elements between monk and ninja. And there's other combinations that people may want to do where it's not going to fit just into one of the traditional jobs by itself. As a result of that, we have the job system that we have. You pick 3 jobs. One of them develops at fast progression, one at medium, one at slow. This is on a 3-level stagger across 20 levels. And of course, each job has its own limit break, and more importantly, your choice, because of how weapons work, your choice of job doesn't dictate what equipment you can get.
Yeah. Now, the question I gotta ask is, can you choose those jobs? Can those jobs be interchangeable throughout your character's lifespan? Because I figure they learn a few abilities from their because the reason I've been playing tactics and you take because I've noticed you complete a job, you take some from column A, and then you go to another one, you put something from that column A onto yours. Is that the case in this game?
You could do that just by swapping one of the tracks.
Oh.
The whole development tree and job level that Tactics does, that was never in the cards because that is adding gimmicks upon gimmicks.
Oh.
And Seed did something like that, and it was very complicated. Too much so for this.
Yeah, that makes sense because there would be too much shit to track. That's what I kind of figured.
Plus, I do believe because I did. Sorry.
Go ahead, Snow.
I was gonna say I do believe because I did read the PDF a bit that you have an option of getting a 4th class, but it will cost you magical items that you can have.
Yeah.
Lots of magical items.
Yeah.
There is an option called the full buy-in method, which gives you another medium progression job. The cost of it is your magic item slots is going to be not only vastly reduced, but the highest tier of magic items you can't get.
Oh.
The highest tier you can get is relic. You cannot get artifact tier weapons. Or at least,
I think you only can get one of each.
Yep, one of each at every few levels. So if you want more stuff when it comes to the job tracks, you have that option, but you are taking a cost. And obviously, within the advanced rules, there's ways to go more freeform, but that itself has its own price. Because I'm a very big fan of risk-reward systems. If you can take that option if you want, but you're not getting a freebie.
Yeah, it's gonna cost you big time.
Mm-hmm. Now, there are four classes in total: warrior, expert, mage, adept. Warrior is the physical combat expert. Expert is the skill monkey. Mage is the spellcasting adept, and adept is the middle ground. You could kind of think of them as points of the golden triangle, with adept right in the middle of that triangle. The other thing that they determine is what stat you use for physical and magical combat, which is going to play a factor into how you roll for your attacks, how you generate your defenses, as well as how impactful certain features are.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't want a situation where if you're playing a melee character, you have to dump everything into strength. There is that kind of thing in Legend system as well, where your combat attribute is not always set in stone based on how you're building your character.
Mm-hmm.
This also means that if somebody wants to do the Magic Knight approach, or just the Gish approach, they have a way to do it without having to completely gimp themselves.
Sounds good.
Yeah. The only rule when it comes to I should note, each class has 11 jobs that are associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
There are also 11 more that are independent. These are ones that aren't associated with any class. Any 3 jobs are on the table for selection. The only rule is that at least one of the jobs you pick has to be associated with your class.
Even if it's a slow one?
It doesn't, whether it's fast, medium, or slow, doesn't matter as long as it's one of them. So if you pick warrior as your class, one of your jobs has to be either berserker, dervish, dragoon, fencer, fighter, knight, monk, samurai, sentinel, sniper, or weapon master.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's placed For the purposes of that rule, doesn't matter. I do remember somebody suggesting the idea of giving some sort of bonus if you have 2 or 3 that are the same class. I felt that would overemphasize that sort of pure build, which is why I didn't do it.
Plus it'd probably be a lot easier to min-max.
And I didn't want to make min-maxing impossible or something like that. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make it so that you don't feel like you have to. Again, I didn't want to put people in the position where they feel like if they're playing a fighter, they have to use a certain approach with equipment or feats or whatnot. I didn't want that kind of pigeonholing. Now, when it comes to skills, as mentioned, I only have 7 skills, and that was because I favored skills that are multi-purpose as opposed to one-off skills. This is also where interests come into play, because instead of having knowledge as a separate skill for each field, which creates bloat in my opinion, instead I have it that knowledge is a aggregate role based on one of 2 abilities and a number of tags called interests.
Yeah.
Interests can be either a field of study that you know, a group that you're affiliated with. Originally this was called alignment, but we changed it to affiliation. Or a language that you speak. All of them play a factor into a knowledge check, but if you have an interest that's more pertinent to it, you can get a boon to that role.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to avoid bloat. So if they're called upon to do a knowledge check, if somebody doesn't have a particular field, they're not screwed over.
Mm-hmm.
In that same vein, I'm not doing penalties for being untrained in a skill, because having a lower modifier I think is punishment enough. I don't feel like kicking someone while they're down for that.
Uh-huh.
And skills, as I mentioned before, are in 3 levels of proficiency: untrained, trained, and origin. When you're picking out your starting skills, you're picking a set amount that are trained. Obviously, if one of your skills is your origin skill from your race, you can't pick that one as trained because that'd be redundant.
Mm-hmm.
With interests, you pick 1 language, one study, and 2 interests that can be of any type. This is where things like heraldry, in this case, like we mentioned before with the Elzen, that would be a study type interest. If you pick that, that would be added to it and work the way any other study would work.
Yeah.
So it is a narrative mechanic, but it does have a limited impact. With feats, which is step 6, everybody starts with 3. 1 of them you get from your race, 2 of them you get for free. Every few levels you get another.
Okay.
I am not doing the 3rd edition thing where there's a bunch of prerequisites. Any time there's prerequisites for feats, it's on a 3-feat chain.
Oh yeah, it's one of the worst aspects of 3rd edition D&Ds.
Yeah, it's like
if you're not going with there are must-have feats. If you do not get these must-have feats, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, no, yeah,
especially if you're a fighter.
Yeah, feat chains can be a pain in the ass.
In this particular case, pretty much all of the feat chains that I have here have a Roman numeral on them.
Yeah.
If you want the next one, you got to get the previous one. You want the one after that, you got to get the previous 2.
So basically, the only feat chains that exist are like sort of like upgraded versions of the previous one. Am I right?
Yes.
Which makes sense.
In other words, stackable.
Mm-hmm. All feats are categorized. And the categories, as you see, is basic combat, melee and range combat, environment, equipment, fortune, skill, social, spellcasting, and subterfuge.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
The only rule when it comes to feats at the start is the ones that are higher up on chains, you can't get at character creation.
Yeah.
You can get the first step of them, but not 2 or 3. And that was done because I didn't want people to just dump everything into one chain at the start.
So basically, you incurred. This is sort of a way to, so they won't be focusing on that freaking chain. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to encourage more variety rather than being one note. In fact, it's very difficult to make the one-trick pony basic attack fighter in this system. Because even at the word go, you have a variety of actions that you can call upon.
Yeah.
When it comes to...
might be tricky because I do have a player that cannot make up his mind if he's given up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. There, Snow.
I'm not naming names out of politeness, but
yeah,
you have a solution for that type of player.
Not necessarily. And I will make clear that customization is king was one of the design pillars.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Like, I'm giving people the tools, but I'm not going to hold their I'm not going to break their hands, but I'm not going to hold them either. And when it comes to equipment, I don't have a set weapon list because that would run counter to the setting agnosticism I mentioned before. I do have a bunch of examples because everybody is building a weapon and armor right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Your meta type is whether it's a physical or arcane weapon, i.e., whether it's using your physical and magical attack or magical attack and defense. Its template is whether or not it's essentially light, medium, or heavy, which determines its base damage die as well as how it uses the extra effort rule, where at certain thresholds, when it comes to attack beating defense, you can add an extra d4 to damage. Light weapons can do it at 3 points, every 3 points above defense. Heavy weapons can do it at 5 points. The trade-off is light weapons have the lowest base damage die at d6. Heavy weapons have it at d10.
The heavier your weapon, the higher your die. Okay.
Yeah, the approach is heavy weapons have a high floor, but they're going to be more static. Lighter weapons can do a lot of damage, but they have a consistency issue.
Now I have to ask. So since this, heavier weapons do more damage, but the question here is, how do you cut down on the frequency of usage? Because let's just face it, heavier weapons they'll do a lot of damage, but they're very slow to control. So you can probably get at best 1 or 2 strikes out of it.
Well, when it comes to combat, obviously I'm not using a grid combat system. Everybody has one action. The approach is the fact that if you want to do much higher numbers, you have to take risks.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take the risk with a lighter weapon that might not do as much base damage.
That limits who you can attack.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a light gun and you're in the back, you can only attack the front.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Meanwhile, you can't attack the back unless you have the pole helmet, the heavy.
Yeah. Your choice of weapon does also determine what angles you can hit, i.e., whether you can hit from front or back row, from whether or not you're in front or back row. The inspiration for this was actually a card game I played in high school called Versus System, which was a DC-based TCG that Upper Deck made in the early 2000s. And then later on added in Hellboy versus the BPRD to it.
And Marvel.
Yeah, though by that point I wasn't playing it anymore. I mostly knew it through DC. And somebody there was an absolute mad lad because when Etrigan had his own card, the effects of the card rhyme.
As you what makes him it has to, because he rhymes.
Yeah. For those who haven't seen Jason Blood / Etrigan, because they are kind of the same person. Etrigan is always speaking in rhyme.
Alright.
But the tags are just customizations, and the reason I took this approach with both weapons and armor is I wanted to divorce the idea of, oh, if you pick a certain class or a certain job setup, you have to take this type of weapon. Like the idea that if you're picking expert, you have to pick thief weapon. What would be thief weapons in more traditional games?
So basically,
that should be a choice.
So basically, you want to cut out all requirements to weapons, like I said, to make it customizable. But now, say for instance, you have like a, but I would. So basically, anybody can equip any weapon they want. But are there going to be like penalties for anything that like, for instance, you have a very low strength stat, high agility, but you decide to carry a big ass freaking bastard sword?
In that kind of situation, that's not really something that's going to come about, because remember, your choice of class determines your physical combat modifier. So if you're doing physical combat, you're using that stat. If you have a low strength and a high dex and you picked warrior, no matter that kind of thing isn't going to come about, because expert chooses agility as its physical combat modifier. So that situation you're talking about, just it doesn't have any space to come up.
So basically, it's sort of like it's sort of like the saying, you can drive with your feet, but that doesn't really make it a good idea.
Yeah. The meta is more about whether or not you're focusing on physical or magical combat. Your choice of weapon is not so much about the allocation of stats, but more about presenting a combat style that you're leaning into. I've referenced as an example of where my head was at with this. Think of the perk system in the better Call of Duty games.
Yeah.
Where you're picking perks not for any numeric advantage, but because you have a certain playstyle you're trying to emphasize, and those perks lean into it a bit more than others.
So a mage should go with magical weapon on armor.
Of course, that magical weapon doesn't have to be a staff.
That's true.
The appearance of the weapon is ultimately flavor.
Yeah, because I went with the Gunbreaker and took the was it the halberd one? And I went with variable.
Yeah, the weapon list in there is just a bunch of suggestions.
Yeah, it's not like a traditional weapon chart that we put in the game. In the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I did that because I realized if I did a traditional weapon chart, I would be playing Sisyphus.
Oh yeah, that for this kind of system it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And just in
By the
general,
way, it's getting late for me, so I gotta split. See you guys.
Take care, Matthew.
But in
See you, Matt.
addition, in addition, you do pick out your spread of consumables. Consumables aren't used in the traditional item sense. They are this once per encounter effect that you don't lose them until you hit the downtime phase. I've seen some people get on me saying, that's the wrong way to do it. And I had said, I wanted to avoid the too good to use problem, or the 99 megalixirs.
Oh, I see. Because how I usually play some RPGs, especially Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, for anything that's like that'll get you something like elixirs or freaking an item that will restore all your MP, etc. It's like I'm like I better save that for the end.
Yeah, and I've seen and done plenty of cases where that save it for later gets kicked down the road until even past the literal end of the story.
Yeah.
So think of it more like the way items work in Thief.
So
specifically the Dark Project in the Metal Age.
So basically, use it for the situation that you're currently in.
Mm-hmm. And even if you hoard it, at the end of that mission, you don't have it.
Yeah. So basically, use it and lose it. Use it or lose it.
And I wanted to make sure that your choice of what you're going to be bringing with you on adventures is just as much of part of the game loop as everything else, instead of being this side thing that's rarely acknowledged.
Okay, so basically, you have a set amount of consumables. So what you're saying is after every battle, these consumables are replenished. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. So this way it's like, okay, you can't stockpile wouldn't make sense. So it's like, okay, stockpile wouldn't make sense, but you do have a finite use of it during battle. Okay, that's actually a good call, because this way you don't have anyone hoarding crap just so they can save it for like a big battle.
Mm-hmm.
That certainly solves the situation for one of my other players where I have fate points. This guy refuses to spend fate points because he wants to save it for the right encounter.
That right encounter never comes. I will be blunt right now. That is not coming. But
yeah, I keep reminding him, like, you can use these points. They're there for a reason. He's like, I need them later. Like,
yeah. It's a common thing where if you give people a limited resource, they're going to be conservative with it. I'm not calling anybody out with that. It's just a simple matter of psychology.
Oh, this is why I'm keeping names. I'm not naming names.
Mm-hmm. Oh. But, step 8 is the finishing touches, where you determine SOS value, which is always half your health. How you generate your combat attacks, so physical or arcane, which always get a half level bonus.
Mm-hmm.
This is also where you determine your combat defenses. Certain maneuvers will call upon what is known as a skill defense, which is just the modifier for that particular skill plus 10.
And go ahead.
Resources is akin to Gil, but it is something that you roll. You have a resource called stake, which can boost the roll. You're rolling to acquire things. Because again, I didn't want to have it where Gil just gets hoarded and doesn't do anything. especially since guild toss has been a thing in Final Fantasy for years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, let's throw 1,000 gil enemy.
One at a time. You first, Ethereal, then we'll go to you, Snow.
Yeah, let's throw 1,000 gil enemy and kill them that way.
Yeah, that's not happening here.
All right.
This is also where you determine spell slots, which this is not the Vancian model. I've made whole videos where I've talked about how much I've hated that model since I was a little kid.
You know, I know your hatred for the Vance magic system.
Mm-hmm. What it is?
Because nothing is like.
Yeah.
What these are instead is akin to equipment slots. If you have spell casting, based on which the main way to get it is through jobs, you're going to have more spells than you can bring with you.
Yeah. And
instead of having someone have a giant spell book worth of spells, like how some people have page upon page of potential spells that they can have.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this. So basically, the spells will be more of a loadout. Am I right?
Yep. Think of the quick slot spells in Kingdom Hearts, and you're not too far off. There's just more slots here. If you pick Mage Assert class, you get more slots.
So basically like the hacking system in Ronin. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to say.
And
I just didn't want to interrupt Mildra. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Obviously, as you level up, you can get magic items of the 4 tiers, and the same thing goes with consumables. Both consumables and magic items have a 4-tier system of lesser, greater, relic, and artifact.
Mm-hmm.
And every 5 levels, you get an additional base damage die for weapon attacks. And every few levels you can increase a ability.
Mm-hmm.
However, this isn't an instance where you pick one of these 6 abilities and give a +1 to it. These are done on modifier tracks. You pick the first of these at character creation, which at first level gives you a +1 to one of your abilities, and then that +1 is increased again at 7th, 12th, and 17th.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for doing this is if I did it as a +1 every few levels, or just an ability point every few levels, I feel like people would overly favor one over the other. So instead, it's a track that you can't double down on.
Okay.
Once you if say you picked Vigor as your first one, when you get the second track, which is going to be at 5th level, you can't pick Vigor again. You got to pick one of the other 5.
So this way, no stacking that particular stat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I believe Trials of Mana did that, where on some of your level games, like you can't, they grade out a stats like you can't stack that one for at least 2 or 3 levels.
Yeah. And there are only 4 of these ability modifying tracks, so no matter what, there's going to be some abilities that just don't get boosted.
Yeah.
But you mentioned job changing. We have a whole sidebar about that, and used Rydia as an example. And we've already talked about the races. And within the Ultimania book, there's a whole lot more of them, including a few more human variants.
Mm-hmm.
I am proud of the designs that June had made for me. Especially like having the Banga as knights, which I mentioned this before. I did that because I didn't want to double down and have more than one race have a Fertile Crescent motif. I was already going to have that for the Vieira, so I didn't see a reason to do that more than once.
And besides, Banga was pretty much exclusive to Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. I haven't really seen him in any other games.
They were in 12.
Oh, they probably.
In fact, one of your early allies was an old Banga who ran a shop in Dalmasca.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I will note the Rogadin can fill in just as much for the Galka in 11.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a representative who was the big guy archetype, and I felt I had more storytelling potential out of the Rogadin than I did the Galka.
Mm-hmm.
Not to dismiss them, but I had to pick one, so that was the one I went with.
So whoever had the better lore, it was the one you picked.
Yeah, and the design I went with was, what if Viking culture had survived all the way to the golden age of sail, but still kept some of the trappings of being Vikings? As far as a lot of people jumped for joy at the idea of playable Moogles. I didn't realize so few of my predecessors didn't do that. I could have gone in any direction with Moogles, so I decided to go with the mailman approach. I don't know what gave me the idea to do that, but I'm glad I did.
Keen Halt, maybe?
No. I wasn't even thinking of Kingdom Hearts at the time.
Now I'm thinking more of like Final Fantasy IX.
9 and 11 did have Mognet.
Because
I think it's the presence of Mognet that led me to go, let's draw from postal service outfits from the 50s.
Yeah, because I figure with again, I prefer the Moogle design from 6 and 9 and 11 as opposed to 12. I think the evil, because I think the Evolution Moogles they look more than mouse than they do cat.
Oh, the design of Moogles, it was a mixture between bat and mole.
Yeah.
Which is why they have the whole thing of not being able to see much of their eyes, because think of like naked mole rats.
Mm-hmm.
Calling their racial feature Moogle Paradox was a in-joke when I was playing through I think I was playing through Lightning Returns, and there was a quest about finding Moogles in this forest, and Lightning ends up asking, "Wait, you can fly. Why couldn't you just fly home?" And Mog says, "I'm scared of heights."
Oh, but it's funny that you put Moogles in as sort of the postman gimmick, because oh boy, you know the reputation among postmen.
Yes, I know. We've seen Friday.
Yep, there's a reason why the term going postal exists.
But hey, even if a Moogle is bad at being a postman, it could be worse. You could be playing Postal 3.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh wait, you can't anymore.
Yeah, it's like that old joke. Okay, I think it was on might have been Sia one time. Yeah, I know Carlos Mencia is a joke thief. I get it, but there was a joke where whether or not he's allowing people into the club. You know, the whole velvet rope deal. There's a character who was a mailman who just kept wanted to go into the clubs. Like, just let the guy in. Don't stop him. Just let him in.
But when it comes to classes, as I mentioned, each of them is a chassis. Each job has their features divided into 7 tiers called circles.
Yeah.
When you get that circle depends on what progression it was put on. your first circle for your fast and medium jobs are gained at first level. You're slow at second, and every level after that, they alternate between fast, medium, and slow.
Mm-hmm.
At 20, so it's not a case where there's certain features you're just not getting. You're getting all 7 circles by the time you get 20th.
Yeah.
Some jobs have their own, have very specific resources that they use, and some features will use MP, of course. And a few jobs have a subset of rules called companions. Engineer and Summoner, as well as Necromancer, are a couple examples of this. A companion is not a separate character. They are an arm of your kit. I wanted to avoid people shuffling from 2 character sheets at once if they wanted to play the fantasy of having a familiar or a robot buddy or a skeleton buddy or something like that.
Yeah. I wrestled with that thing during the development of Ronin, because eventually what I want to do eventually is you have the option of bringing a dog with you, or any pets, like for instance, like you can bring a dog with you just to fight with you. You bring a cat in to do infiltration, or hell, you can bring a freaking mountain lion or a bear with you.
Yep. I have the Beastmaster job that covers that kind of thing, and that was a bone of contention with one person in the FF tabletop server, because they were insistent that I needed to put in the Ranger job because that was in FF11.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I didn't is because anything that the traditional Ranger could do is already handled by other jobs.
Yeah, it would be redundant.
That was a key thing.
I
didn't want to do slight modified versions of other jobs.
So basically, you want to avoid redundancy.
Yes.
That makes sense.
There was that one idiot and his ball-washing friends who was aghast that I did not have paladins get access to white magic. The reason I did that is, well, what happens if you pick paladin and white mage? You just rendered one of your features redundant.
Exactly. Oh, you didn't have. I guess. You can have a white mage as another job, you idiot.
So you're not bending them backwards is the reason why they accuse you of not respecting your community?
Respect is not a synonym for reverence. And that particular group is not my community.
Yeah.
They like to think that they are, but they made that choice all the way back in November. I've talked about that. But the modifiers companions don't use your modifiers. They have a action and reaction modifier based on your level. If something calls for an action roll for them, use the action mod. Mm-hmm. If it calls for a reaction, you use reaction. Companions can take a hit for you, which if you succeed at the reaction, you just take half damage. If you fail, you have to wait a whole turn before you can start using your companion stuff again.
Yeah.
Once again, risk reward. And instead of a full character sheet, companions always have a major and a minor action.
Yeah.
When it comes to your turn, you can choose to use their major action, but you don't get to but that counts as your action for the round. If you don't, they automatically do their minor action at the end of the round.
Yeah.
Minor actions are not as powerful, but again, it's something that they're automatically doing. Think of it akin to a option in Gradius, which is always firing off no matter what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
And the only job combination you couldn't do is an all-independent one.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense.
One of the jobs. Yeah.
Because
you need at least one job tied to a class.
Yeah. And while I said that for most of the jobs you can pick about any weapon, there is one kind of exception to the rule. and that is Gunbreaker.
Yeah, it makes sense because if you're just gonna have a normal ass sword warrior gunbreaker, what's the point of your class?
Gunbreaker requires a melee weapon. That's really it.
Yeah.
And a big reason I did this, and I did mention this in a brief thread on Twitter a few nights ago, I felt that when people want the Gunblade / Gunbreaker fantasy for their characters, they don't want they want that particular weapon to be a key intrinsic part of their fighting style, rather than a sword that shoots. If you want the sword that shoots kind of thing, or the transforming weapon setup, I already have that accounted for with the variable enchantment that magic weapons can get. Because of that, the system is very specific about what counts as a gunblade, or the more broad term, gun arm. So, the revolver and the Hyperion from 8, those count. The Blaze Fire Saber from 13 doesn't count. The gunblade weapons that are referred to, that are used by the Genesis copies in Crisis Core, don't count. The gun part of it has to be enhancing a melee attack, otherwise it doesn't count. And because of that, I've argued that that Nero's Red Queen in Devil May Cry 4 and 5 would be a good touchstone for the Gunbreaker. As well as any character in a fighting game that has some sort of EX variant of their normal specials. Order Saul in Guilty Gear especially comes to mind. Because you can add D4s more freely with that approach, but it is a case where in order to get it back, you do have to spend an action, because you're essentially using those D4s as extra, well, bullets. Bigger weapons have bigger clips. You can't unload more than half of the clip in one attack. And in the errata, I am putting in a rule where you can use two bullets essentially to act as an extra effort die for the purposes of other effects.
Yeah.
Just so there's some combo potential there. And there are a few jobs in the list that don't have a direct representative in the video games, but I put them in because I wanted to fill a certain niche.
Yeah.
For example, Dervish. There is no Dervish job in Final Fantasy. Dervish is meant to be the speed-based sister to Berserker. And the two of them are mutually exclusive. Berserker hits hard and can't dodge. Dervish hits more and can't parry.
Yeah.
When you're getting targeted under normal circumstances, you can always either dodge or parry.
Yeah.
Potentially, you can only parry with melee attacks normally. And if you're in Berserker's Rage or Dervish's War Trance, as a cost for the benefits you get, one of those options is cut off. And you can't do both at the same time.
Yeah. Well. All right. Okay. Now, I would like to keep going about. I would like to keep going about this because there's still a lot of things you could explain, but unfortunately we are running out of time here, and with Shoguncast, I like to keep it around 3 hours or 2 to 3 hours. So
yeah.
So would you like to come back at a future date and we can finish up with this?
I would be fine with that, and I know there's a lot here, but it was always going to be a lot.
Yeah.
Just because of what I'm trying to do with this.
Yeah, I kind of figured that because we're talking about 550 pages of information in the core book alone. So this is while it's pretty ambitious, it's also pretty detailed as well. So you and Xanatrix made sure no stone was unturned with this one, and I think I assume from this, your plan was to sort of make it as complete as complete as you can get it. Am I correct?
Yeah, I wanted it to be a complete baseline that could be expanded upon in the future, either by myself or by other people. I've already seen a bit of that. I was doing these monthly design challenges for a little while.
Okay.
And in addition to that, I've opened up the possibility of converting other games into this system. I know Xenogears was brought up before. I've considered doing Phantasy Star as well, if only because I was so disappointed with the official Phantasy Star RPG.
Yeah, it turned into a...
I'm very glad that Photon System Overdrive is in development, because that is 100 times better looking. And I'm not saying that because the designer of it, Tim Gonzalez, is a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
But I'll put this in the side chat for you. That is the wiki.page page, because when that crowd decided that they were going to make their own wiki.page page for the fixed version.
Oh yeah, that.
They were going to pull a cyber squatting and link some of the stuff in the itch page to their wiki. But they forgot to claim.
I've seen them attempt to do that.
Yeah. They forgot to claim ffle.wiki.com.
All right. I'll tell you what. Go ahead and post that on the chat, okay? And also on the table of the Shogun at Discord, you could also link that as well. All right.
Done.
Yes. Now I have to say though with this little project and the design layout, you did give me some ideas what I could do to patch up a few dead ends that we've design dead ends that we've ran into with Ronin. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think we got as pretty much as good as pretty good, but like I said, there's a couple design dead ends, especially around character creation.
Yeah, we definitely hit some dead ends with that one.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
I agree.
I will note there's been a few people who are like, "Oh, Square Enix is going to sue you." To which I'm like, as long as I'm not making money off of it, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that in the Reddit.
Yeah, my buddy Clipper Arnold had posted the thing to Reddit to help spread the word, and some of the reactions were downright hilarious. One of them claiming that one of them claiming, "Just play Fabula Ultima, bro," as if I don't have two full videos going into why I have a significant problem with that. Or there was one that just called it a D20 derivative, which you've gone through it far enough. I don't think you can claim that this is just D&D in a different coat of paint.
Yeah. Now I've known
D&D.
Yeah. So I kind of understand why you've made it a free and available. So because I figure, I put it for money, Square's going to have some words with you. But I would say though,
not only that, but come on, let's be fair. All the other Final Fantasy projects are done by fans. Those were free to download too.
Yeah. Now,
so if their argument was any water, those other people would have been given cease and desist letters as well.
Yeah. I would say
the Returners project started in '93.
Now I would say if you could probably, a lot of people would argue that this is so good, why aren't you selling it for money? Because like I said, Square Enix will come at you. But I think at this point, if you can in the future, I would say pitch this. See if you get it pitched to Square Enix or something like that.
I'm already a step ahead of you on that because some of the people that I've worked with and have interviewed have contacts at Square and have sent it their way.
Yeah, so you're waiting to hear back from them because if you get licensed, then you can sell it. Because if they license,
the approach I have is if by some miracle, Square is willing to play ball with me, I'm going to make sure that nobody sneezes on that official version without me saying something about it.
Yeah.
If I don't get it, this just remains a free and open source project that anyone can tweak around with. We always heavily encourage house ruling and home brewing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big reasons I chose to take this approach is, for one, if I end up making something better than official work, that's going to embarrass whoever made the official work.
They'll get pissed.
And two, I will be honest. My earliest memories of really delving into the tabletop community were in homebrew forums.
Mm-hmm.
Places like the TG board on 4chan, which I've cited as inspiration for a lot of different projects. I love me the 1D4chan wiki, or now 1D6chan. Places like The Forge, or the Free RPG blog, or 1KM 1KT, or Giant in the Playground, or countless IRC boards and chats that I was in talking about tabletop design. Some of them looked at me as a bit of a maverick. Some of them were far more amenable to what I wanted to do with tabletop.
Yeah.
Legend Edition is my way of giving back to those roots.
All right.
Which is why I've never been I haven't been fully comfortable with the idea of making a paid version, because I don't want to. Unlike some content creators and some creators in general, I don't want to forget the garage that I started in.
That's
if you
true.
catch my drift.
That's true. I can completely understand. Pretty much like how most of the gaming industry has pretty much forgot where they came from, and now you have everyone throwing temper tantrums because nobody wanted to play my game, and you know the gamers sharing it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, in the last 5+ years, I have done over 1,000 interviews with game developers of all stripes, and a lot of them just want people to try out their game and have some fun with it.
Yeah. You just get a few of them that get way too much attention and get way too much funding, act like they're entitled little shits.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I think one of my friends, when he put up the alpha, he had said, "All right, here's the alpha. Now fuck my shit up." His attitude.
Yeah.
Oh. And in that same vein, I've mentioned that if I ever do like convention appearances, I'm not gonna be showcasing this at tabletop conventions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be showing this at anime and video game conventions. The tabletop side has already decided I'm too weeb for them, and you have that crowd of people who turn up their nose at anybody who isn't trying to be classic.
Yeah, basically,
I've mentioned my scorn for them.
I've noticed that part of the thing they get a little too nichey about their stuff. I mean, I think I'm starting to run into that crap with Ronin, even though because the thing right now is if I can't market this to the tabletop crew, who do I market to? What I guess I'm gonna probably market it to people who like a lot of the 1980s movies like RoboCop. Because the funny thing about Ronin, for so long I was trying to figure out how I can define my game, because I've always had that's one of my biggest problems. I can't really pigeonhole my game in like some sort of thing. I can't even invent one, you know? I mean, the closest I could get right now is sort of like the same vein as RoboCop, because if you look at a lot of the RoboCop games that came out recently, it's more of it's pretty much the best example of what I'm trying to do, because there's like a bunch of retro future stuff. There's cyborgs, but it's still got the aesthetic of the late 80s. You know what I mean?
I think you'd really like one of the games I'm going to be covering next month called Hunt Down.
Hunt Down?
You know, I have an idea.
Yeah.
It may be a stupid one, but let me toss it. That movie you like called Ring of Fire? Was it like a retro future?
You mean Streets of Fire? You mean Streets of Fire? That's one of my favorite. That's one of my.
Streets of Fire. Why not target that crowd? If you love the movie, you might like this.
Yeah, only problem is it's 50s culture, not 80s. Well, it does have 80s music in it. It's a marriage between that and 80s music, but the problem here is they're going to expect
Aaron,
like yeah.
You just need to explain to them is like, yes, it's 80s, but it's set in the year 2038.
Yeah.
So,
be honest with you might get lucky.
Yeah.
Let me share with you guys a particular image. So, a few years ago, I covered and backed a game called Fight to Survive, which is very much channeling martial arts cinema from the 70s and 80s. And within their Kickstarter, they put a little influence graphic that had a bunch of different names they were drawing inspiration from in a graffiti style.
I think I know what you're talking.
This is that image.
I think I know what you're talking about. Even the title says Fight to Survive. Yeah, that's a what you call it? God damn, what am I about to say? It's takeoff from Blood Sports. It's God damn. Yeah, I forgot.
He lists Bloodsport in that thing.
Yeah, there's the song called "Fight to Survive," so I get the reference. So,
yeah. But putting that sort of influence map is one way that it can be done. I'd also bring up how one of my dear friends, Brendan Davis, the guy behind Wandering Heroes of Ogre Gate and Righteous Blood, Ruthless Blades, has lengthy posts where he talks in great detail about a long list of martial arts and wuxia movies. He was one of the people who helped give me a movie watch list when I was running Sons of Lady 87 of films that would be in a similar vibe, because that's something I like doing with my tables, is show them one particular movie or miniseries to help get a feel for it. Last year when I was running 7th Sea, I had done, just before we started, I had them do a watch party of Master and Commander. Mostly because I thought Pirates of the Caribbean would be a little too obvious. When I run Veil of the Eternal Night later this year, I'm going to be doing that again, but using Solomon Kane, because I was going to go with Van Helsing, but I felt that was way too obvious. And I was debating between going with either Season of the Witch or Solomon Kane, and Solomon Kane won out on the coin toss. Though both, I love me some schlocky kind of fantasy.
Oh, I see what. Yeah, I'm looking at their itch page right now. Hold on, let me go ahead and bring that up here. Where are you? Yeah, because you know what this, because I'm starting to see what kind of aesthetic that they were going for here. Let me go ahead and bring that up real quick. I gotta change the link. God dang it, it's not what I wanted. Okay. Yeah, here it is. Let me go ahead and share. God damn, where's my thing?
Oh, you shut off the screen. I can only see the SHOGUNCAST on YouTube.
I know. I'm gonna be going over there in a moment. Okay.
Okay.
But the point is that is an angle that you can go into instead of trying to appeal to a old school tabletop crowd, which that is an ivory tower that is going to be swallowing its own tail in due time if it hasn't already.
Mm-hmm.
It is best to do a similar kind of pitch to how a lot of people got started in tabletop in their early days of that thing that you like watching. This is an interactive version of that.
Yeah.
that was the pitch.
I think I know what aesthetic they're going for. It's sort of like mid to late 80s, early 90s East type martial arts movies like China O'Brien or let's say any of the Lorenzo Lamas type shit. Like we're talking like pretty schlocky martial arts movies. I mean, maybe get into schlocky as a Pierre Kirby.
Well, the stuff that's listed on that influence map I posted is stuff like The Big Boss, Rocky 2 through 4, The Chinese Connection, Fist of Fury, Lionheart, A Force of One, American Ninja, Kickboxer, King of Kickboxers, Bloodsport, Hard Times, Best of the Best, and Art of Fighting.
Okay. So
yeah, I'm getting what you're trying to say towards the end of that, because what brought me to the World of Darkness wasn't the actual tabletop RPGs. It was the video game Vampire the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically what you're saying is So basically what you're saying is you get a list of your influences together and toss them out there, see where it overlaps. Am I correct?
Yeah, by presenting it in this list, you can. It doesn't have to be a hard and fast list. It can be just a bunch of names thrown together, but a pattern will naturally emerge.
Makes sense. Okay, so that's good news then. All right. So with that, all right. I think
a round of final questions.
Yeah. So any of you got any more questions before we get up out of here?
I'm gonna see who else is in here before I.
Let's see who else is. You see some. Yeah, we still got 343 Ethereal. Any questions from any of you guys?
I'm trying to think of anything.
What about you?
The GM over game.
Yeah. What about you, 343? Anything from you?
I was actually just trying to process all that information because, I'm not really much into tabletop games or anything like that because I had no skin in the game.
Yeah, you give it a shot. So you said you had something ethereal? Because I don't know if you said anything or not.
No, I'm trying to think. I'm hoping that the GM would show up in the chat. For the Saturday morning one. If she did.
Oh. All right.
So. Okay, well, I do have a question.
Dude.
Okay, so my question is going to be pretty simple. After Final Fantasy, do you plan on doing something else next, like Shadow Hearts, Octopath Traveler, or something of your own creation?
I have considered looking at other games and whether or not how I could adapt them. I know I'm going to be talking with Lost Heaven on Saturday, talking about adapting elements of his Skies Above RPG into my system, and since we're on similar wavelengths, I already mentioned that I want to tackle Phantasy Star. However, if I do that, I would want to tackle it separately because I feel doing the Sega Quartet online and online 2 in one smorgasbord would be difficult because they're so completely different vibes from each other.
Yeah.
Not bad, not good or bad, just different.
Yeah, I always thought the quartet and the online versions were different continuities.
Yeah,
there's been some will they won't they inconsistencies about that. I know that Sonic Team outright cited Diablo as one of their big influences for online. And if you look at like the original Diablo and then look at PSO, you can most definitely see it. And of course, Online 2 is far more of an action MMO. And the original Phantasy Star on the Master System has more in common with old school Wizardry or Ultima. I feel like Phantasy Star, as we know it, didn't start until 2. Much in the same way that Dragon Quest, as we know it, didn't start until 3. Not to diminish the games before that, but the identity wasn't cemented yet.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I finally got a hold of the 1 and 2 remake. I've beaten the first game, and let me tell you, they stretched the first game as far as they could do it, because if you remember the first game that came out, the only time it was basically 90% you're grinding and 10% actually finishing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're definitely mostly grinding.
Yeah.
That is I'd say that is an artifact of its predecessor.
Yeah.
Because despite what certain idiots have claimed, Dragon Quest has a indirect lineage to the Wizardry series.
Yeah.
In fact, that was one of the goals: make something like Wizardry but simplified for the Famicom.
Mm-hmm.
Because Wizardry was huge in Japan. And games like the Black Onyx were basically Japanese knockoffs of Wizardry.
Yeah, so. All right.
I'm surprised that has not actually... No one made a tabletop RPG of Wizardry and basically sold that over to Japan.
I bet you it's...
Kind of did.
Oh, it did? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they did?
Oh. There is a Wizardry TTRPG that was exclusively made in Japan. It had one box set. The details on it I don't have the full scope of because it's never been fan translated. Mostly because it is really, really hard to get.
Yeah.
But
it does exist. I have screenshots of it.
All right.
So what happened to it? Because this may be me being stupid, but I'm thinking like that should have been a hit. As popular Wizardry was.
It happened. It did well. It's just that other things did better. Especially when Group SNE starts entering the picture and starts doing their own stuff. Who, in their early days, they were just translating Wizardry and Ultima on the PC. Keep in mind, this is a whole other thing I could get into another day, and I have on my own show. The TTRPG scene in Japan is a significantly different beast. A lot of people who got into tabletop in Japan did not have war games as their entry point.
Yeah.
Wargaming doesn't really have a big foothold there. It never really has. Instead, computer gaming was how they got into it, and a lot of tabletop magazines were also computer gaming magazines. Things like Lodos Companion were built with the assumption that people starting with that had a computer gaming background. Whereas people who are starting with Sword World, a topic I've covered extensively, was more of the burgeoning tabletop background in the late 80s and early 90s. So, as far as why Wizardry wasn't a hit, it's just that it was always just a one-off among many.
Yeah.
And compared to, and once Group SNE and other folks started putting more effort into their own homegrown stuff, that took off more.
Yeah. Okay then. So yeah, we'll definitely pick this up at a later date, because I'm sure there's a lot more you can talk about with this situation. But so with that said, thank you for coming out to the SHOGUNCAST, Mildra. Always happy to see you here.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we'll come. Hopefully you drop by another time. If not just talk about more about Final Fantasy Legend Edition, but like I said, you can feel free to jump on anytime you want, my man.
All right.
And as for everybody else here, as for everyone else here, Snow 343 and Ethereal, thank you for coming on as usual, guys. So I'll check y'all later. All right.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Stay frosty.
Okay, so it's just me right now. Yeah, I know it was a long show, but like I said, Mildred does once you get Mildred going, believe me, it's gonna be long. But nothing to it. But I do like the fact that he likes to talk his game in great for detail. So I figured it'd be nice for him to keep going, so people can understand what we're dealing with Final Fantasy Legend Edition. So we will continue this conversation at a later edition of the SHOGUNCAST. So with that said, tomorrow, obviously, we're getting back into Stellar Blade, and it looks like we got a lot of places that we have to explore before we kick the story along. We're going back into IDOS 7, and there's also a forbidden place that I've delved into briefly off screen when I was collecting the graffiti pictures. By the way, I have collected all the graffiti pictures, so we have a couple new outfits that were unlocked as a result. So when we get back into Stellar Blade, we're gonna see even a new outfit. So I hope you tune in for that. I don't know what time I'll start. I might start early tomorrow. Who knows? Might start around 6. Maybe go on for 4 or 5 hours. See how it goes. Because I don't want to go too long in this whole deal. But anyway, so that's what we got for you for tomorrow on the arcade. But until then, as we always say here at the end of the Shogunate, God bless you. Take care of yourself, and just remember this little hobby of ours. We built it. It's not for the tourists, corpos, activists, or assholes like Jeffrey Epstein to take control of it. So be sure you gatekeep your tables and gatekeep your hobbies. Good night, everybody. I'll see you back tomorrow night.
Good night, ladies. Good night, sir. Hit it, sweetheart.